Come on, grab your friends. You might not need to go to distant lands for this one, but it's definitely better if everyone brings snacks. We've amassed a crazy amount of Adventure Time's facts, theories, and more into this mega marathon video. But don't just take my word for it. Keep watching for a couple seconds and you'll see exactly what I mean. Welcome back to ChannelFrederator. I'm Keegan, and today we've put together the most mathematical jazz possible. It's something like 470 facts about Adventure Time. Rhombus! To kick things off, I figured it was best if we got you up to speed with everything happening in OO. Of course, this is before those HBO spin-offs, and it doesn't take into account anything happening with the Fiona and Jake series coming up. But still, this is the complete Adventure Time timeline, and it is way cray detailed.
You might still be weeping over the end of Adventure Time, because, I mean, we still are, but thankfully the series finale brought a lot of the lore full circle. At long last, we finally have enough information to build a complete chronology of Adventure Time. Hi, I'm Jacob with ChannelFrederator, and today we're going to be exploring the Adventure Timeline in full. A few notes before we start though. First, we have to acknowledge Yagam, who painstakingly put together an incredibly in-depth timeline of Adventure Time and all of its multiverses over at atchronology.com. We owe him a lot. Further, showrunner Adam Muto has stressed that the comics aren't canon, so we're going to be completely ignoring them today. We're only focused on events that were specifically referenced in the show. And lastly, we're going to be using the Grey Mushroom War as our reference point for Year Zero. It's just standard Adventure Timeline etiquette. Alright, let's do this! Primordial monsters, more than 13.7 billion years before the Mushroom War, which we'll refer to from now on as BMW. Yeah, I know, like the car, but it's the best we've got. The Big Bang, the real one, was 13.7 billion years ago, but according to the Lich, before there was time, there was nothing, and before there was nothing, there were monsters. Stars of this monster soup include Hunson Abadir and Orgalorg. Really makes you feel good about the innate nature of the universe, huh? The Big Bang kicks off the multiverse. One would assume that this event also spurs the creation of several cosmic entities like Golb, the Elements and Catalyst comets on Earth. 3.7 billion years BMW. It took the Earth another 9.2 billion years to form, and another cool 800 million years for life to emerge. Ever since, 4 core elements have always been present. And no, we're not talking about the Avatar elements. Yet. These elements are fire, ice, candy, and slime. And lumps. Lumps are the anti-element, I guess. The beings that embody these elements are called elementals. The elementals are mortals who are continually reincarnated. We don't know when or why, though. Even Glob doesn't know how the comet reincarnates itself. And yet, a catalyst comet strikes the Earth every 1,000 years, bringing an agent of change that can be good or evil. And evil includes, well, the green catalyst comet and the creation of the crown. 65 million years BMW. In the twilight hours of Earth's Cretaceous era, the ice elemental Urgence Evergreen points out to the other elementals that the green comet hurtling towards Earth is writhing in a particularly disconcerting way. To combat the comet's imminent destruction of life, Evergreen builds a crown whose phantasmo circuitry would bound to its first bearer and grant them their one deepest wish. When the other elementals reject Evergreen's plan, he ices them, naturally. Evergreen powers his crown but becomes indisposed at the last minute, leaving the responsibility of using the crown to his maligned and mentally scarred dinosaur assistant, Gunther. But Gunther's deepest wish isn't to destroy the comet, it's to become Evergreen. Gunther thereby turns the crown into an artifact that gives the wearer ice powers at the cost of their own identity and sanity, and some form of every wearer's consciousness is stored in the crown circuitry. Meanwhile, the green comet strikes Earth, inciting a mass extinction. In 65 million years, the catalyst force introduced by this comet would become the Lich, a monster who vows to extinguish all life. Vampires appear, over 7 million years BMW. According to Hunson Abadir, vampires predate humans on Earth. The demon Abadir has previously been on Earth since its origin. We don't know when he takes over the rule of the Nightosphere, so for convenience's sake, let's just say it happens around now. Orgalorg banished to Earth, 10,000 to 5,000 years BMW. Another inhabitant of the aforementioned primordial monster soup was Orgalorg, the breaker of worlds who tyrannically ruled the solar system for eons. Between 10,000 to 5,000 years ago, Orgalorg attempts to intercept a catalyst comet and absorb its powerful essence, but Abraham Lincoln, the king of Mars, sends Grob Gob Globgrod to stop him with a sweet flame sword. Oh yeah, there's already an advanced society on Mars, and everyone important there is apparently immortal. Anyway, Grob Gob Globgrod god banishes Orgolorg to Earth, where Orgolorg forgets everything, including his own identity. The gravity of Earth squashes Orgolorg into a penguin, who's eventually renamed Gunther by a future crown wearer. So just to be clear, this Gunther is not actually related to the dinosaur trapped in the crown circuitry. Orgolorg maintains his immortality though and continues to appear throughout human history. The Rainicorn Dog Wars, about 2000 BMW. Elsewhere, a nasty, long-lasting war breaks out between the two primary inhabitants of the Crystal Dimension, long rainbow-bodied unicorn-like creatures called Rainicorns and a race of intelligent dogs. The so-called Rainicorn Dog Wars are fought over territory in the Crystal Dimension. Although fighting ends several hundred years after the Mushroom War, the group in power of the Crystal Dimension would change constantly, and hate crimes between the two groups aren't uncommon. Golb attacks Mars, 200 BMW. Golb is the most powerful cosmic entity in the multiverse, the embodiment of discord and chaos. Golb appears on Mars and swallows Margles, the wife of Grobgob Globgrod's younger brother, Magic Man. Golb's power is so strong that not even the power of Prismo's Wish Room can bring her back. Margles ceases to exist anywhere. Moco founded, about 20 BMW. Sometime before the Mushroom War, Mosif Mastro Giovanni founds Moco, a factory that would build the most impressive robots in the millennium to come. The facility is primarily dedicated to sentient robots called Moes, including Mo's personal favorite, Bimo, who is designed to receive love. Mo himself slowly transitions into a cyborg and so survives the Mushroom War. The Enchiridion is discovered and Marceline is born, 5 BMW. Simon Petrikov, a professor of archaeology, discovers an ancient book known as the Enchiridion while on an expedition to the Hindu Kush. Although Simon realizes the profundity of his discovery, he's mocked by the press and his fellow academics. The origin and age of the Enchiridion is unknown, but it's among the most powerful artifacts in the multiverse. If utilized with the correct gems, the Enchiridion can create passageway to different dimensions or enable time travel. This same year, Hunson Abadir has his first and only child, with a human. The half-demon, half-human child is named Marceline. Evergreen's crown discovered, 2 BMW. A few years later, Simon purchases a mysterious crown from an old dock worker in northern Scandinavia. Simon jokingly shows the crown to his fiancée and fellow antiquarian Betty Groff by placing it upon his head. The moment he does, the crown starts transforming him. Over many years, Simon's skin turns blue, his hair grows long and white, his body temperature drops, he develops ice powers, and he starts losing his sanity. Betty appears to run away after this initial incident, but in reality, over 1,000 years in the future, Simon opens a portal to say goodbye to Betty, and she jumps through it, but we'll get to that when we come to it. Here it is, Year Zero, the Great Mushroom War. Only the elementals who saw visions of an ominous future guessed what was about to take place. However, the Earth is presently inhospitable to magic, so the elementals' powers are incredibly limited. Patience St. Pim, the ice elemental, though, refuses to bite it. She goes into the ocean and sinks herself in an ice prism that preserves her life through the war-torn times to come. The Mushroom War is a nuclear war whose origins have become obsolete. The pivotal element is the detonation of the mushroom bomb, a gigantic nuclear explosion with a sickening green hue, similar to the green catalyst comet. The site of the mushroom bomb detonation is a subway station, possibly in New York or LA. The bomb additionally releases the corporeal incarnation of the Lich. The site of the bomb's impact becomes a cesspool of toxic waste known as the Lich's Well of Power. The effects of the Great Mushroom War are massive. Earth's climate changes, cities and infrastructure are destroyed, humans nearly become extinct, and nuclear waste turns anyone unlucky enough to touch it into a mutagenic zombie. These oozers are still alive and biohazardous 1,000 years in the future. The only positive is that elemental powers seem to reset. The power of the candy element was stifled immediately before the war, but shortly thereafter, gum is naturally occurring. The Great Mushroom War is also likely responsible for a chunk of the Earth coming clean off, although some theories hold that that was done by the Blue Catalyst Comet, 0 AMW, after the Mushroom War, of course. Another major event happens in Year Zero. The Blue Catalyst Comet strikes Earth shortly after the Mushroom War. As a convenient counterbalance to the ultimate evil embodied by the Lich, this comet embodies good. Its first incarnation is a butterfly and will eventually become the human Finn Mertens. Then again, how Farmworld Finn can exist in a timeline where the blue comet misses Earth is one of the greatest and most frustrating anomalies of all Adventure Timedom, but that's a conversation for another time. Another Adventure Time? No, I immediately retract that joke, I'm sorry. The demise of Simon Petrikov, around 5 AMW. Some humans were able to survive by merit of not being completely human, like Marceline, or were kept alive by magic, like Simon. Shortly after the bomb, these two survivors find each other and travel together, but continued exposure to the crown and the increasing need to use its powers defensively are wearing on Simon. Simon leaves Marceline when she's about 10, fearing that he'll soon become too dangerous. Simon disappears until he fully transitions into the Ice King. Simon did summon someone to take care of Marceline in his stead, though. Hunson Abadir, serial French fry thief and the father that Marceline had never met. Vampires eradicated and Founders Island established, around 13 AMW. After Abadir's failed attempt at guardianship, Marceline becomes a vampire hunter, and her demonness allows her to gain the powers of her victims, which is real handy. A few years later, Marceline befriends the few remaining humans, led by Two-Bread Tom, who seems to enjoy sitting by the campfire and singing sitcom openings from the 80s. The humans now wear animal hats as disguise and protection against their main predators, vampires, and rainicorns, who arrived and discovered that humans are delicious. Finn seems to agree on this, by the way. I just thought I'd mention it because it happens and then it's never mentioned again. It's a little off-putting. The humans are preparing to sail away from the mainland, not just because of predators and oozers, but because atmospheric readings are portending a major shift. The last fleet of vampires attack with the Vampire King in tow. Marceline orders the humans to depart without her and slays the vampires herself. But the Vampire King's final act is to turn Marceline, making her, ironically, the last vampire. After a long voyage, Two-Bread Tom lands on what becomes Founders Island. He's celebrated as one of the titular founders who are deified over time. In the coming years, the humans branch out onto the surrounding islands and construct a giant guardian so nothing dangerous can reach them, and also so no one leaves. Those wanting to depart are belittled as hiders. As human technology improves, seekers are fine-tuned by an electronic chip to stop hiders. No one leaves the islands for nearly 1,000 years. Ooh, and the revitalization of magic by 149 AMW. Rising ocean levels after the Mushroom War change Earth's geography. What was presumably the United States, or part of it, has become a smallish continent that's actually friendly to life. This new continent is called Ooh, spelled 3 O's. By 149 AMW, magic is strong enough in Ooh to stop comets, and wizardry has been revitalized. Birth of Bonnibel and Nettie Bubblegum, 172 AMW. Over time, the gum that started appearing around Ooh gained sentience and the Mother Gum is formed. Only 2 people are known to have left the Mother Gum, Bonnibel and Nettie Bubblegum. The rise and fall of Uncle Gumbald, around 186 AMW. Bonnie and Nettie build a home around the candy juice tree Nettie leaned on for comfort shortly after leaving the Mother Gum. When Bonnibel is in her early teens, she makes some relatives for herself. The first candy people, Uncle Gumbald, Aunt Lolly, and Cousin Cheekley. Bonnie and her new relatives found Candy Town. They upgrade the house, farm the nearby land, create roads, all that good stuff. But Gumbald starts planning a candy city and wants to use Dum Dum Juice to get Bonnie and Nettie out of his way. Dum Dum Juice being a solution that causes candy people to become more docile and childlike. Bonnie fights back though, and Gumbald is dumbified along with Lolly and Cheekley, who Gumbald had previously dumbified. They become the first candy citizens, and Bonnie declares herself the princess. God, that is very messed up now that I'm saying all this out loud. The Candy Kingdom grows, about 500 to 700 AMW. Bonnibel, now Princess Bubblegum, borrows Gumbald's aspiration to build a candy civilization. Her kingdom slowly expands out of her tree home with Nettie. She creates Banana Guards and the Gumball Guardians, and she's sorta dating Mr. Cream Puff, the boyfriend that Gumbald had previously made for her. In the intermediate stages of development, Bubblegum is visited by Shoko, a reincarnation of the Blue Comet. Being a mercenary thief, Shoko was sent to steal an amulet in Bubblegum's possession. She successfully swipes it after befriending Bubblegum, but in her flight, Shoko falls into the yet uncovered radioactive river surrounding the kingdom, becoming horribly mutated. She dies at the base of the tree that will eventually become Finn's treehouse. Over time, the Candy Kingdom prospers. However, the wilder nature of the kingdom's earlier years encourage rather unfortunate authoritarian impulses in Bubblegum, such as creating an elite force of hundreds of soldiers called Rattleballs, finding them too violent, and then killing them all. Wow! That's a big yikes! The success of the Candy Kingdom inspires other kingdoms to spawn in the following centuries, including the elemental kingdoms of fire, slime, and ice, which is created by the remnants of Simon Petrikov, who is now known as the Ice King. The Margles Incident, about 600 AMW. Meanwhile, Mars is uneasy about the possibility of the second coming of Golb. To prevent this, Magic Man uses his long-curated scientific and magical strength to build the Magical Automated Resistance Generating Laser Energy Supplier, or Margles, named after his wife. Aw, that's sweet. Against the judgment of his older brother, Magic Man goes to Olympus Mons to install Margles, but is overcome by his desire to hold onto the image of his wife. The resulting struggle causes Margles to fall off Olympus Mons. That's not so sweet. Magic Man banished to Earth, 798 AMW. After Olympus Mons, Magic Man's personality drastically changes. He starts unleashing a series of mean-spirited prank plagues upon the Martians, like turning Mars's water into hair that would make you go bald if you drank it. Sick of Magic Man's harmful antics, Abraham Lincoln and Grob Gob Globgrod banish Magic Man to Earth. They supply him with a transporter back home, though, that only works through feeling love. Yet Magic Man, who is understandably traumatized, thinks the transporter is just broken, so he simply continues being a jerk on Earth. Billy fights the Lich, about 970 AMW. The Lich reemerges and begins to convert Earth's life force into an unholy power to destroy Ooh. Before he succeeds, though, the legendary hero of his era pummels him into the candy tree in the heart of the Candy Kingdom, surrounding him in a prison of amber that can hold him as long as he's unable to invade the mind of anyone who enters his proximity. But whatever, I'm sure that would never happen. Birth of Jake the Dog, 984 AMW. An alien shapeshifter, Warren Ampersand, serially bites and thereby impregnates creatures with his offspring in a long con scheme to live forever. His victim this time is a dog in Ooh named Joshua. Joshua gives birth from the bump on his head as his wife Margaret gives biological birth. Their sons are named Jake and Jermaine, respectively. The birth of Finn Mertens and the first humans leave the islands, also 984 AMW. On the islands, helper Minerva Campbell and reformed con man Martin Mertens give birth to their son Finn. When Finn is still a baby, people wronged by Martin in the past attack while Minerva's at work. Martin and Finn are chased onto a raft and barraged by a storm, and also that guardian that we mentioned, you know, the one that stops people from leaving. Martin damages the guardian and is thrown into the sea, while the massive wave from the guardian's collapse sends Finn's raft deep into the ocean. They become the first people to leave the island since its founding. Finn survives the long voyage with a breadstick wand, literally a wand that produces breadsticks. The raft washes up on Ooh, making Finn the first actual non-vampire, cyborg, cursed wizard human in Ooh in nearly 1,000 years. He's found and raised by Margaret and Joshua. The island's most powerful seeker, Kara, is sent to look for Finn. She lands on Ooh but suffers complete amnesia. Martin is saved by pirates, having likely suffered brain damage and some memory loss. He reverts to his con man ways, his antics escalating to a cosmic crime that imprisons him in a celestial fortress called the Citadel. The Epidemic, about 989 AMW. Dr. Gross, the head of the Seeker program, begins to conduct immoral experiments that lead to a fatal virus claiming 62% of the general population. The fatality rate among helpers is 100%. So Minerva, the final helper, uploads her brain map to the island's computer and creates a network of hundreds of Minerva bots. Humanity consolidates on Founders Island. Finn obtains the Enchiridion, 996 AMW. On Ooh, after Joshua and Margaret pass, Finn and Jake move to an epic treehouse with BMO and start a life of adventuring. They go to Crag Mountain, where the Enchiridion has ended up. Finn passes the trials that are presented to him, shows his color as a true hero, and wins the book. The Lich returns, still 996 AMW. A snail in the Lich's amber chamber falls under his spell and cracks open his amber prison. Finn defeats the Lich with the power of liking someone a lot. But a party-crashing Ice King drops bubblegum into the well of power, allowing the Lich to possess her. One Godzilla moment later, and an emergency surgery expels the Lich from bubblegum, but the loss of candy biomass in the process temporarily de-ages her, making her 13. But she grows out of it pretty quickly, and unfortunately the Lich is still possessing that dumb snail. The Death of Abraham Lincoln, 998 AMW. After 200 years, Magic Man is brought back to Mars to stand trial for his misdeeds, except that Magic Man swaps his body with Jake's. Abraham Lincoln realizes his mistake too late after sentencing Jake, and offers Death his immortality for Jake's soul. Grob Gob Globgrod becomes King of Mars. By the way, Death implies that Lincoln's made a deal with him before, which could explain some of the, historical discrepancies here. The Lich returns again, and the Farm World timeline is created, also 998 AMW. After laying low, the Lich leaves his snail bod, kills Billy, and possesses his body. Finn then gathers the Enchiridion's gems for who he thinks is Billy, but once receiving the gems, the Lich then opens a gateway to Prismo, the Wishmaster. He wishes for the extinction of all life, but Finn and Jake are spared as they follow the Lich to Prismo's time room, which exists outside of all realities, which essentially protects them until they each make a wish themselves. Finn wishes the Lich never even ever existed, creating an alternate farm world timeline where the mushroom bomb never went off, and where Finn, under the influence of the crown, causes it to detonate and for the Lich to possess farm world Jake. Our Jake, meanwhile, uses his wish to change the Lich's wish to send Jake and Finn back to Ooh. The Lich then becomes incapacitated in Prismo's time room. Finn obtains the grass sword and Betty comes to Ooh. 9:99 AMW. Finn ends up with the grass sword, an incredibly powerful cursed blade made to be part of its user for all eternity. Finn figures out how to work the cursed blade to his advantage though. For now. Shortly thereafter, Betty Groff, Simon Petrikov's fiancée, jumps through that portal we talked about. She dedicates herself to saving Simon from the crown. Within the year, she becomes Magic Man's apprentice. Prismo's death, the Citadel jailbreak, and the Lich transformed. Also 9:99 AMW. Finn discovers that his father is at the Citadel and seeks Prismo's aid. The incapacitated Lich, still in Prismo's time room, sees his opening. He kills Prismo and his sleepy host body and is taken to the Citadel as a prisoner. The Lich melts all of the crystalline prisons of the Citadel and incites a mass breakout. Finn swipes the Lich with some of the Citadel Guardian's weird nutrient blood, transforming him into a gigantic, seemingly harmless baby called Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea becomes the adopted child of Tree Trunks and Mr. Pig, who also exist. We haven't mentioned them yet, but here they are, they're Sweet Pea's parents now. Also, Finn discovers that Martin is a complete wad. Martin ditches Finn, who loses his arm in an effort to make him stay. The grass sword creates a little flower on the stump of Finn's arm. It eventually regrows Finn's arm, complete with a green thorn, a remnant of the grass sword's curse. Prismo is reborn and the Finn sword is created, and it's still 9:99 AMW. Prismo enacts his Plan B, which is incredibly convoluted, but involves pickles and dreams. Long story short, an alternate reality version of Jake sleeps for eternity to revive Prismo, while an alternate version of Finn has his consciousness shoved into a sword, henceforth called the Finn Sword. The recorporealization of Grob Gob Globgrod, still 9:99 AMW. A faux comet, which is actually Martin's spaceship, hurtles toward Mars off schedule to the real comet. To save his planet from destruction, Grob Gob Globgrod faces the comet head-on, averting catastrophe but sacrificing their corporeal form and therefore ability to rule Mars. The four heads of Grob Gob Globgrod come to circle the Earth like satellites. Normal Man. Later that year, Magic Man attempts to use Glob's discarded helmet to transform into the Glob head. Instead, all of his powers transfer to Betty, who's immediately gripped by wizard insanity. Magic Man becomes Normal Man. The first Candy Kingdom election, 1000 AMW. The self-proclaimed King of Ooh holds a barely legal election for the position of Princess of the Candy Kingdom. Bubblegum refuses to campaign and loses. She relocates to Gumbald's cabin, but reinstates her position when the Candy people perform a coup during the vampire resurgence a couple months later. The return of Orgelorg and the Purple Catalyst Comet, still 1000 AMW. Orgelorg starts resurfacing due to the perfect mix of events: the death of Glob, the proximity of the Catalyst Comet, and the availability of a spaceship. Even though he doesn't initially understand why, Orgelorg rockets into space to try once again to absorb a Catalyst Comet. Orgelorg's true form is restored, but his absorption is thwarted by Finn's grass arm. For the first time ever, a Catalyst Comet meets the incarnation of a previous one. The comet offers to take Finn to the end and the beginning, basically offering him a new form of existence, but Finn refuses. He's put a lot of time into Earth and he wants to see how it all plays out. But Martin takes the deal, because of course he does. Finn and Jake then return the neutralized Gunther to Earth. The spread of the Lich's hand, still 1000 AMW. The next few things in this timeline actually all happen within the same year, so I'm not gonna list the year until the year changes again. Ice Finn from Farm World gathers all of the gems necessary for Lich Jake to create that dimensional portal with Farm Worlds and Kyridian. Prismo sends our Finn and Jake to take care of it. The Lich's hand is knocked into the open portal, placing a sentient Lich hand in every dimension. The proper Lich is killed via a super weapon called the Maid. Prismo also relieves Farmworld Finn of the Crown's torment as per our Finn's request. Normal Man becomes King of Mars. Normal Man retrieves Glob from orbit. The two brothers reconcile, and as Normal Man takes Glob back to Mars, Glob leaves the throne to Normal Man. Mars had fallen into poverty and disarray, but now King Man revitalizes Mars into a prosperous society. Patient St. Pim awakens and the Grable tradition begins. Patient St. Pim reawakens in the nethers of the Ice Kingdom and asks the Ice King to kidnap the other elementals, Bubblegum, Flame Princess, and Slime Princess spurn St. Pym, even after she awakens PB and Slime Princess to their elemental powers. Also, Ice King's fanfictions get scrambled together, inspiring him to string seemingly disparate short stories together with a theme. Over the next 1,000 years, Ice King's tables evolve into Graybles, an oral and visual storytelling tradition. Finn's voyage and the elementals gone awry. Finn's friend Susan Strong is revealed to be the seeker Kara, who was sent to retrieve Finn and lost her memories all those years ago. Susan's finder chip goes haywire, but Finn and company use its data to voyage to the islands. Finn finally meets his mother, kind of, I mean she's still an uploaded consciousness at this point, but Finn finally tells humans about Ooh. Also, Finn's grass sword merged with the Finn sword to form an alternate version of Finn named Fern, but eventually tensions rise between Finn and Fern, concluding in a dramatic fight that sees Fern cut down to size. This traumatizes Finn further than he already has been over the course of the series. While Finn's away, St. Pym uses Betty as a battery to charge a spell upon the other elementals, but Ice King interrupts her and the ritual goes sideways. The elementals turn into ultra-powerful, distorted versions of themselves, and Ooh and everyone in it is transformed into one of the 4 hyper-elements. Finn works with the Ice King to save Betty and hands her the farm world Enchiridion to reverse the spell, but Betty double-crosses him, instead using the Enchiridion to travel back in time to stop Simon from ever acquiring the crown. Ice King stops Betty's spell, and Betty's cosmic no-no sends her to Mars to do penance. Lumpy Space Princess, the anti-elemental, ends up saving the day. Her sassiness forces a sort of master reboot of life on Ooh, including Gumbald, Cheeklay, and Lolly, Princess Bubblegum's first relatives. The final demise of the Lich. The Lich Hand is giving Sweet Pea some freaky nightmares. Finn follows the hand to the Lich's well of power, and Sweet Pea follows Finn, but instead of joining with the Lich, Sweet Pea rejects the Lich's evil influence and ending the Lich for good. Yeah, probably. The Great Gum War and Golb reformed, and we're finally at 1001 AMW. Gumbald immediately begins his revenge. He repurposes Fern as the vengeful Green Knight and builds a vast industrial kingdom with impressive speed. The certainty of war is clinched when Gumbald sends Finn, who had gone to Gumbaldia on a rogue diplomatic mission, back to Bubblegum showered in his trademark dum-dum juice, unbeknownst to Finn, who was told the solution was a benevolent diplomatic tradition. On the battlefield, Finn engulfs himself, Bubblegum, Gumbald, Jake, and Fern with a nightmare concoction, hoping to hash out their conflicts in the dream world, which works! Though Lolly juices Gumball just to be safe, and peace is established between the Candy Kingdom and Gumbaldia. But in a final attempt to save their beloved Simon and Margles, Kingman and Betty tamper with Golb. But you can't just tamper with the most powerful being in the multiverse! Golb descends upon Ooh and quickly overwhelms both armies. The Ice King, Betty, and Finn slip down the maw of Golb, where they and the crown are reverted back to their original states as Golb digests them, meaning that once again, whoever wears the crown will have their greatest wish fulfilled. Not that it matters, because everybody watching cries in a highly emotional scene where Finn, Simon, and Betty slowly accept their impending deaths. Back outside, the fighters realize Golb, being the embodiment of discord, has a weak spot: structure, like musical harmony. This enables Finn and Simon to escape, but Betty stays with the crown, unsure if its power will still work outside of Golb. She attempts to wish Golb away, which fails. She then modifies her request to meet her truest, deepest wish, which is to save Simon at all costs. As a result, Betty's wish causes her to merge with Golb. Betty Golb then leaves Ooh. The crown is spat out and claimed by Gunther, who apparently wishes to become the Ice King, keeping the crown on brand. As the dust settles, the defeat of the Grass Curse back in the Nightmare Realm kills Fern. Finn plants his seed where Finn and Jake's treehouse was destroyed, and the tree grows to towering heights in 1,000 years. Humans return to Ooh, about 1003 AMW. After hearing Finn's tales, the humans decide to leave the islands. Nearly 1,000 years after their departure, a fleet of ships arrive to return human civilization to Ooh. A new Candy Kingdom in space, about 1020 AMW. In 1000 AMW, Princess Bubblegum entrusted Tree Trunk's husband, not Mr. Pig, her other alien husband, that's also a thing that happened, with a capsule containing enough candy matter to start a new Candy Kingdom on the aliens' abandoned home planet. By 1020, this candy colony would be up and running. The future of Ooh, 2000 AMW. The Candy Kingdom expands and likely merges with Gumbaldia. Despite this, by 2000, the Candy Kingdom is in ruins and appears abandoned. Still, what looks like a buff gumball guardian, apparently called a prize ball guardian, carries several candy citizens around in plastic balls, guarded by one of the buff banana guards Bubblegum built for the war, or at least an offshoot of one. Aliens move to Ooh and space travel becomes more common. Sweet Pea is a giant-sized hero wielding Finn's final sword. Jake and Lady's offspring become a new species called pups, which appear to have constructed their own city or kingdom. Giant monuments to Finn and Jake are built and also fall to ruin. 1,000 years is a long time, and we leave off with Shermie the cat and Beth the pup princess to continue the never-ending cycle of adventuring.
Aw, yeah!
Wow cow chow! This timeline got us back up to date, so let's start firing off facts left and right. I'll start with left, alright? Get ready, this many facts can scrunk you up if you're not prepared. Let's dive right into 107 Adventure Time facts everyone should know.
A 12-year-old boy battling evil with his magical dog. Doesn't get much better than that. Today here at ChannelFrederator, we are listing 107 facts about our beloved franchise, Adventure Time. Yeah! Number 1. Marceline and Ice King have known one another since she was young. Strangely enough, the same connection can be made between their voice actors. Olivia Olson, the voice of Marceline, and Tom Kenny, the voice of Ice King, first met when Olivia Olson was a baby. Her father played the piano at a comedy club he performed at. Number 2. Speaking of Olivia Olson, did you know that her father Martin is a comedy writer and that he voices Marceline's father, Hudson Abadir, on the show?
Keep your crummy soul.
Talk about cartoons crossing over in real life. Olivia has admitted that her father eats her food, just like how Hudson ate Marceline's fries. Number 3. The episode Business Time led to a major shift in the show's backstory. Prior to its airing, there were no plans to make the show post-apocalyptic. The businessmen who emerged from the iceberg that episode had a distinctive 21st century feel to them though, which implied that the land of Ooh was of the future. The team just ran with it. Number 4. In the opening theme song of Adventure Time, keyboard typing can be heard.
Go to very distant lands.
Creator Pendleton Ward has revealed that when he was recording the audio for the opening, it was meant to be a temporary stand-in. Derek Dryman, the executive producer at the time, was typing away and it was caught in the recording. Afterwards, though he tried re-recording the track, Pendleton found that he liked his temporary version best of all and kept it. Number 5. You can find the snail hidden in every episode of Adventure Time, except for Food Chain. Number 6. Adventure Time's title sequence contains a multitude of objects just waiting to be analyzed. Nuclear bombs can be seen. There's also a dismembered arm that fans speculate belonged to Shoko, one of Finn's past lives. Number 7. Finn may be inspired by Bueno the Bear, an early webcomic character created by Pendleton. Number 8. One of Taiwan's high-speed rails trains features characters from Adventure Time on both the exterior and interior. Other Cartoon Network franchises, such as the Powerpuff Girls, also make an appearance. Number 9. Cartoon Network's Amazon theme park in Thailand features an Adventure Time themed area called Adventure Zone. Number 10. In the original pilot for Adventure Time, Finn was voiced by Zach Shada.
Look! Those ninjas are stealing that old man's diamonds!
Give me back my diamond.
By the time the series rolled out, Zach was older and his younger brother Jeremy had a voice that was closer to what Finn originally sounded like.
I actually got the job because my voice sounded a lot like his.
Jeremy was cast and the rest is cartoon history. And in case you were wondering, Jeremy says there's no bad blood between brothers.
Friends who ride majestic, translucent steeds. I would follow you into the mists of Avalon.
Number 11. At San Diego Comic-Con one year, Adam Muto and Kent Osborne expressed their desire to have the entire cast of The Office guest star on Adventure Time. Number 12. Adam and Kent also want the entire cast of Star Trek: The Next Generation to voice characters.
Is there a John Luck Pickard here?
Number 13. In the episode Hug Wolf, Finn and Jake fist bump while declaring
Hot to the touch!
An episode by that name later aired where Finn met Flame Princess. Number 14. In the episode Son of Mars, Magic Man sings
Memories drift in and out of my mind, and the little people get left behind. So whatever.
Later, an episode by the name of All the Little People aired that featured Magic Man. Number 15. In the episode Butopia, one of the Love Glubs is seen consuming a skull with a bunny hat on. The hat is very similar to the one Fiona wears in the Gender Bend Adventure Time episodes. Number 16. Executive producer Fred Seibert initially rejected Adventure Time.
And I watched the pitch and it was great, and we went back to decide whether we were going to say yes or no, and I said, look, we don't make art films here. And Eric quietly closed the door and he goes, we have to make this.
Number 17. Marceline has a pet zombie poodle named Squabble, who is based on Marie's poodle Squabble, a friend of Pendleton's. Number 18. In the episode Fiona and Cake, Fiona's dress for Prince Gumball's party is based on Princess Serenity's dress from Sailor Moon. Number 19. The episode Dream of Love has some continuity errors. Mr. Pig's scene takes place during the nighttime, but Tree Trunk's scene takes place in the daytime. When the two characters meet, it's daytime. Number 20. Princess Bubblegum shares a voice actress with Starfire from Teen Titans.
I have journeyed to the Mall of Shopping and discovered the joy of earthly hair ornaments.
Number 21. Nickelodeon passed on Adventure Time multiple times before Cartoon Network picked it up. Number 22. Jake can speak, read, and write in Korean.
자기야, 나 완전 중요한 할 말 있어.
Number 23. Ice King has a tattoo of a penguin on his right butt cheek. Number 24. Finn and many other characters in Adventure Time actually age unlike most other cartoon characters. While he was 12 at the start of the show, Finn just turned 17, assuming that his birthday is March 14th. This would be based on the fact that an episode featuring his birthday aired on that date.
Happy birthday.
This works well with the real-life aging of his voice actor, as his voice has deepened over time.
And we'll be back with more right after these words.
Number 25. Jake the dog is based off of Bill Murray's character in Meatballs. According to Pendleton, Jake is a 20-something-year-old dude who gives crappy advice.
It just wouldn't matter because all the really good-looking girls would still go out with the guys from Mohawk because they got all the money.
Number 26. Finn's favorite food is meatloaf. Number 27. Finn and Jake have arachnophobia. Number 28. Fans speculate that the Ice King may have some sort of eating disorder. His weight is shown to fluctuate, and creator Pendleton has revealed that Ice King frequently diets but binge eats when he's depressed. Number 29. Pendleton voices Lumpy Space Princess.
Where's my ring? I knew you liked me, Finn.
But his favorite character is Beemo.
No, football, like this.
Number 30. Tom Kenny, who voices Ice King, also voices SpongeBob SquarePants. Number 31. Lady Rainicorn speaks in Korean, and when the things she says are translated, they can be pretty racy.
Oh, sick! You can phase people into your body?
당연하지. 난 제이크랑 항상 한 몸이 되는데.
Number 32. Adventure Time has had some great celebrity guest stars. Neil Patrick Harris, Andy Samberg, and Lena Dunham are just a handful. Number 33. Beemo is gender fluid and changes from male to female at will based on what situation he/she is in. Some take Beemo as an example of third-wave feminism. Number 34. In the Adventure Time video game, Adventure Time Explore the Dungeon Because I Don't Know, it's revealed that Princess Bubblegum is 827 years old. Number 35. Princess Bubblegum has spoken German in a few episodes.
Ich bin so glücklich. Ich könnte.
Number 36. In the German dubs,
Adventure Time mit uns im Sinn zieht uns zu fremden Ländern hin.
She speaks Turkish instead. Number 37. The relationship between Marceline and Ice King came about when Ice King sang a song about fries that Marceline had written.
You ate my fries, and I cried. But you didn't see me cry.
The writers realized they had to come up with a reason for how he knew the tune, which is how the tragic backstory between the two came to be. Number 38. The episode Memory of a Memory was actually inspired by the film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Joel, hey, no, sweetie. Jolie.
Number 39. The characters in the show often break into raps and songs. The voice actor of Finn relates to this in real life. He's released a few kid-friendly rap videos.
Don't forget to wear your jeans when you go to school.
Number 40. The original short for Adventure Time was commissioned by Nickelodeon's shorts program Random Cartoons. It leaked online in 2007 and went viral. Number 41. Pendleton worked as a storyboard artist and writer for Cartoon Network's The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack before Adventure Time was greenlit. Number 42. My Neighbor Totoro, The Simpsons, and Pee-wee's Playhouse are stylistic influences for Adventure Time. Number 43. The romantic plotlines in Adventure Time are inspired by Archie comics featuring Betty and Veronica. Number 44. Pendleton says he's embarrassed by how much he relates to Lumpy Space Princess.
My
Don't be embarrassed, Pendleton. That's just adorable. Number 45. Olivia Olson was a little girl who sang All I Want for Christmas Is You in the film Love Actually. Number 46. Party Pat is based on a former creative director of Adventure Time. His name was Pat McHale. Number 47. Lady Rainicorn and Beemo are both voiced by Nikki Yang, who was a storyboard artist for season 1 of Adventure Time. Number 48. Pendleton was the voice of Lady Rainicorn's universal translator device.
Then I eat
all the peaches in the orchard.
Number 49. At WonderCon one year, Adam Muto confirmed that Marceline's mother was a human. Number 50. Finn's original name in the pilot was Penn, after Pendleton. Number 51. Princess Bubblegum was originally named Betty, after Pendleton's mother. Her name now is Bonnibel, which only Marceline calls her. Number 52. Princess Bubblegum's age can be altered by adding or removing candy biomass. Isn't that delicious? Number 53. Marceline's song, I'm Just Your Problem,
I'm just your problem.
was based on a real-life falling out that Rebecca Sugar had, which she says made it difficult to write. Number 54. Finn and Marceline are ambidextrous. Number 55. As Finn aged alongside him, Jeremy would purposely crack his voice when recording to show that Finn was going through puberty.
This is gross! Man, I can't eat this!
Number 56. In the pilot for Adventure Time, Jake is 28 years old. Number 57. In the episode The Silent King, it's revealed that Jake's insides are cursed to smell like vanilla. That sounds like the best curse ever. Number 58. In the episode Sons of Mars, Jake dies but is later resurrected. Number 59. The gender bending that goes on with the Adventure Time episodes featuring Fiona and Cake is a common fantasy sci-fi trope known as Rule 63. Rule 63 states that for every given character of a certain gender, there is an opposite gender version. Number 60. Adventure Time is heavily censored in Australia. Come on, guys, what's up with that?
What the cabbage?
Number 61. The Adventure Time cast records all their dialogue in a single room.
Never!
Number 62. Most of the jokes that the network rejects are fart-based.
Jake!
I thought it would be funny!
Number 63. It takes about 9 months for each episode to be made. Number 64. Pendleton has compared the writing process of Adventure Time to the tabletop RPG Dungeons and Dragons. Number 65. Lumpy Space Princess is composed of irradiated stardust. Number 66. The episode Gotcha was partially inspired by the made-for-TV film Beauty and the Briefcase starring Hilary Duff. Number 67. Pendleton would love to see Card Wars, the card game, from the eponymous episode Card Wars come to life in hyper-real form. But for now, it exists as a real card game. Number 68. Pendleton is also the creator of Bravest Warriors.
Bravest Warriors!
A show on Frederator's online channel, Cartoon Hangover. Hey, that's one of our channels. Gee golly, we made it on the list. Number 69. Pendleton's mother once brought him, unannounced, to the home of Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, to ask for advice creating a successful animated show. Number 70. Pendleton has listed David Lynch in Japanese horror films as some of his influences. Number 71. Jake is classically trained in playing the viola. He knows works by Beethoven, Wagner, and Mozart. Number 72. Pendleton has said in an online interview that the radiation in Ooh has caused changes in Finn's anatomy. Number 73. Jake is actually the second magical talking dog John DiMaggio has voiced. Food Dog from American Dragon Jake Long was the first. Number 74. Hudson Abadir, Marceline's father's name, was the name of storyboard artist Jesse Moynihan's childhood family Nissan. It was also the name of his first band. Number 75. The Cosmic Owl.
You're probably a big nerd.
was inspired by a shiny and reflective urinal at Pendleton's workplace. Number 76. Tree Trunks was based on and written for her voice actress Polly Lou Livingston. Livingston is a longtime friend of the Ward family. Number 77. Olivia Olson, the voice actress of Marceline, confirmed that Princess Bubblegum and Marceline are ex-girlfriends. This information came to her from Pendleton himself. Number 78. Character designer and storyboard revisionist Natasha Allegri sang the theme song for the gender-bent episode of Adventure Time.
Adventure Time, come on, grab your friends, we've got to very distant lands.
She also created the gender-bent characters. Number 79. Natasha's pet cat Pancake makes cameo appearances in Adventure Time. Number 80. Phil Face is a running gag in Adventure Time. Appearing as an Easter egg occasionally, it is a face meant to resemble that of Phil Rinda, the lead character designer of the show. Number 81. A number of Adventure Time alumni have gone on to create their own exciting shows. Natasha is the creator of Bee and Puppy Cat.
Puppy Cat, can you pass me those...
Rebecca Sugar is the creator of Steven Universe.
What's going on here?
And Patrick McHale is the creator of Over the Garden Wall.
A bird's brain isn't big enough for cognizant speech.
Hey, what was that?
I mean...
Number 82. Aspects of Rainicorn culture are based on Korean culture. Some examples are things like games, snacks, and war history. Number 83. The character Meow came about when a fan drew a tiny ninja cat by the same name based on the idea of cat Monochromicorn Wars. The creators liked the idea and the episode Jake vs. Meow came about. Number 84. Maria Bamford has voiced over 20 characters in the show, including Slime Princess, Kim.
Kim, get underneath Trudy.
No, man, please. I freaking hate Trudy.
Kim!
Wildberry Princess, even males like Wormo and Tanya. Number 85. When Adam Mudo pitched the episode, what was missing, he messed up saying the line, "I'll get your toy back, kid," and accidentally said,
"I'll get your kid back, toy."
The team thought it was funny and kept a flub for the actual episode. Number 86. The chanting from the ghosts you hear in Heat's signature is actually a backmasked message to Patrick McHale. It says, Number 87. Executive producer Fred Seibert once mentioned that Cartoon Network had tried to remove Princess Bubblegum and Marceline from the show because they didn't feel they need to appeal to women. Number 88. Many staff members on Adventure Time have Formspring pages where they will answer questions from fans about the show. Number 89. In the episode Thank You, Jake wore Ice King's crown but suffered no ill effects. Adam Mudo explained that the crown doesn't corrupt Jake because he already has his own magical powers. Number 90. Jake Jr. is voiced by Christian Shaw, and TV is voiced by Dan Mintz. These two also play siblings in another show called Bob's Burgers.
Enough already, come on.
Number 91. In The Prince Who Wanted Everything, Lumpy Space Prince's outfit bears a resemblance to that of Charge from the Gundam franchise. Number 92. Flame Princess's outfit after she takes over the Fire Kingdom resembles the armor worn by Azula, Princess of the Fire Nation in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Number 93. Abraham Lincoln offers Death a penny in Son of Mars and was the king of Mars for a time. It's fun to note that there's now a penny on Mars in real life. Number 94. In the episode The Real You, Professor Worm has a binder with a slice of pizza on it, along with the date 6/18/1986. The date is Natasha's birthday. Number 95. Marceline's outfit in Betty is the adult version of the outfit she wore as a child. Number 96. In the episode All Aboard Who's Coming Aboard of the show Parenthood, one can see the Adventure Time episode Too Young playing on the TV. Number 97. According to the Adventure Time Encyclopedia, when Joshua and Margaret first found Finn, they thought he was a mudfish, hence the name Finn. Number 98. In the episode From Bad to Worse, Princess Bubblegum notes have some interesting things written on them. Examples are Hotmail, What Is It? And Lactose Intolerance, Fact or Fiction? Number 99. Rebecca Sugar has said that she designed Flame Princess to look like a match. Woo! Number 100. In the episode The Cooler, it's revealed that Flame Princess's first name is Phoebe. Number 101. If you input the Konami code on the title screen of Adventure Time, Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage? On the 3DS, the secret screen song will appear. It shows Pendleton singing with Finn and Jake.
This is the secret screen.
Number 102. The Adventure Time Encyclopedia states that Peppermint Butler served as Hudson Abadir's assistant in the Undead Gold Tournament. It's rumored that he hid bodies under the 9th hole. Number 103. Susan Strong was inspired by a character that Pendleton played in the old MMORPG Blade Mistress. All playable characters in the game are buff women. Number 104. On a Spring account, storyboard artist Annie Ristino stated that fellow storyboard artist Jesse Monihan confirmed that Shoko's tiger was one of Jake's past lives. Number 105. In the episode Holly Jolly Secrets Part 2, when Ice King breaks in through the chimney, a poster can be seen that seems to depict someone in a Star Trek uniform. 106. Scientific parasites can be seen in the pockets of intelligent people in Adventure Time. They feed on intelligent brainwaves, and because one can be seen in Simon Petrikov's pocket, it can be assumed that they exist during and maybe even prior to the Great Mushroom War. And number 107. Prince Gumball's original name was Prince Blowpop, but it had to be changed because Blowpop is a brand name.
Orgalord demanded it, so we complied. What else are we gonna do? Let them jack up this channel because we didn't listen? No way! We got 107 more facts together and put them into a video. A video sweet enough to please Orgalorg. 107 Adventure Time facts you should know, part 2.
Adventure time, come on, grab your friends, you come to very distant lands. Could you show 107 more facts about Adventure Time? My name is Leah, I hope you have a great day. Bye!
Adventure Time is beautiful, quirky, fun, and powerful all at once. So could only 107 piddly little facts be enough for such an amazing show? Of course not. That's why we've compiled 107 more facts on Pendleton Ward's epic animated adventure. We also did it because a bunch of you requested it. And since you can't seem to get enough random trivia about Finn, Jake, and the rest of the gang, we're here to help. My name is Tim, and today on ChannelFrederator we have 107 more Adventure Time facts. Let's get started. Number 1. Pendleton Ward's goal in creating Adventure Time was to give kids real, relatable characters that could reach their hearts. Aww. Number 2. Ward's opportunity to make the Adventure Time short came after Frederator's Eric Homan saw Ward's student film, The Producer's Show, at an end-of-year screening at Cal Arts. Eric proceeded to ask Ward for a pitch, and the rest, as they say, is history. Number 3. It took Ward 2 weeks to storyboard the Adventure Time short. Number 4. According to Fred Seibert, the founder and CEO of Frederator, that's our boss, Ward's pitch began with him playing the Adventure Time theme song on a guitar he brought with him. Fred claimed he had never seen a pitch quite like it before. Number 5. Working on the Adventure Time short was Ward's first job out of college. Number 6. During season 5, Ward stepped down as Adventure Time's showrunner and passed the torch to the show's creative director, Adam Muto. However, Ward is far from done with Adventure Time, as he still contributes to the show's writing, and will even be heavily involved with the Adventure Time movie. Number 7. Ward put a lot of thought into making female characters of the show, since he's not a fan of the stereotypical molds TV usually forces women into. He was sure to give the ladies strengths and weaknesses to make them feel like real people. He cites Princess Bubblegum as a prime example of this. While she's extremely intelligent, she's also kind of a goofball that botches up plenty of her experiments. Number 8. Marceline is the only main character that didn't appear in the original short. Number 9. The only main character whose voice went unchanged between the original short and the series was Jake the dog, who was played by John DiMaggio in both. Ward would later reprise his role as Abraham Lincoln in the episode Sons of Mars. Number 10. Despite this, DiMaggio and Ward aren't the only voice actors to play a role in both the short and the series. Lady Rainicorn's original voice actor, D. Bradley Baker, went on to voice multiple characters in the show, most notably Cinnamon Bun. Number 11. The title Princess Potluck was one of the proposed episode titles in Ward's original pitch presentation for Adventure Time. Muto claims the season 4 episode of the same name had nothing to do with Ward's original idea for the episode. Number 12. In the original pitch presentation, it was stated that Jake and Lady Rainicorn were in a band together called the Angel Cakes, where they played a fusion of classical and bluegrass. They would hold rehearsals in Princess Bubblegum's garage every Thursday. Number 13. A conceptual map of Ooh refers to the Fire Kingdom as the Burning Lands. Number 14. Finn's original name in the Adventure Time short, Penn, is actually explained in issue 9 of the Adventure Time comic. Finn went through a phase in his life where he had a fascination with pens, so much so that he temporarily changed his name to Penn. Number 15. This comic also features an explanation for one of the short's most obvious continuity errors. In the original short, Penn's sleeping bag mysteriously vanishes after a few shots. The comic states that the sleeping bag was stolen by a time-traveling Finn and Jake who were watching them from behind a hill. Number 16. In the storyboards for Burning Low, Jake talks about an additional relationship tier. When talking about tier 9, Jake was supposed to say, "On that one, just make sure you have a comfy place to sit in the next day, cause you'll need time to reflect on what you did." Number 17. According to the original storyboards for his hero, Billy's name was originally Hogarth. Number 18. Early storyboards show that Finn's dad was meant to be revealed in the episode The Lich. It probably makes sense that he wasn't. That would have been a lot going on. Number 19. Former Adventure Time storyboard artist Rebecca Sugar refers to Abraham Lincoln as the Jesus Christ. However, Muto claims Lincoln is simply a recognizable figure and that calling him Jesus would be a stretch. Number 20. Marshall Lee wasn't meant to be just a silent cameo in the first Fiona and Cake episode. Sugar wrote lines for the character. Unfortunately, his speaking role was cut due to time constraints. Number 21. Sugar wanted Marshall Lee to be played by Dante Dante Bosco, better known as Prince Zuko on Avatar: The Last Airbender. Number 22. Despite being an unmarried royal female, Flame Princess was referred to by the show's writers as the Flame King after she staged a coup on her father and took control of the Fire Kingdom. Number 23. According to Jack Pendarvis, a writer for the show, Stephen King was seriously considered to be the voice of Root Beer Guy, but nobody ever approached the author about it. Number 24. The show's writers keep track of all narrative loose ends with a piece of paper labeled Unresolved Stories. Two topics that formerly had spots on the list were Finn's dad and the Lich. Number 25. Natasha Allegri, a writer for the show, lied to a fan about Arthur Cade voicing Marshall Lee because she wanted to see fans create a page for Arthur Cade on the Adventure Time wiki. Number 26. The various pronunciations the Ice King makes with the name Gunter were the result of inconsistency with how the name was spelled in the script.
Gunter, wake up!
Sometimes the U in Gunter would possess an umlaut and other times it wouldn't, which would cause Tom Kenny to pronounce it differently. As a result, it was decided by the writers that the Ice King had multiple penguins that he called Gunter using different pronunciations. Number 27. Olivia Olson got the role of Marceline through her father, Martin Olson, who knew Ward prior to Adventure Time. Ward said he was interested in casting the voiced actress that played Vanessa Doofenshmirtz on the show Phineas and Ferb, which Martin wrote for. So when Ward asked him how he could get in touch with her, Martin revealed that she was his daughter. Number 28. Marceline's immortality is the result of her being a vampire, not half demon. The only demon trait she inherited from her father was the ability to suck souls. Number 29. Olivia Olson recently got in touch with her inner vampire queen and wrote an Adventure Time book called Marcy's Super Secret Scrapbook. The other half of this book is called The Enchiridion, written by her father, Martin Olson. Number 30. The Earl of Lemongrab is voiced by Justin Roiland. You may know him as the creator and voice behind Rick and Morty. Number 31. Playing Lemongrab is extremely strenuous on Justin Roiland's voice, so much so that it usually takes 2 recording sessions to record all of his dialogue for an episode.
This is unacceptable!
Something no other actor on the show has ever had to do. Number 32. Lemongrab was meant to be a one-off character that the show's staff thought would never take off. Unfortunately for Justin Roiland's vocal cords, the character was so popular that Lemongrab became a recurring character with a legion of lemon citizens, also voiced by Roiland. Number 33. Banana Man is played by the famous parody musician Weird Al Yankovic, which, yes, he is famous for being a parody musician, but I think it's also fair to point out that he has original songs too. Number 34. Voice actor Dana Snyder plays the ancient sleeping magi of life-giving, a wizard who grants life to inanimate objects that go on to terrorize people. This is a regular occurrence in Snyder's other show, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where he voices Master Shake. Hey everyone, break time again, this time with something a little bit important. If you're used to seeing ChannelFrederator's 107s go up on Thursday, you might want to adjust your schedule a little bit, because we're going to be uploading them on Fridays now. So go ahead, adjust your calendars and your schedules, make all the appropriate Rebecca Black references, and let's get back to the facts. Number 35. Flame King is played by Primetime Emmy Award winner Keith David. David's previous roles include Captain Anderson from Mass Effect and the Arbiter from the Halo series. Number 36. In the episode Evergreen the Candy Elemental, Chatsberry is voiced by Alan Tudyk, who coincidentally played King Candy in the Disney film Wreck-It Ralph. Number 37. Finn's alter ego, Davy Johnson, is played by an actor named, you guessed it, Davy Johnson. Number 38. John DiMaggio, the voice of Jake, refers to Adventure Time as this generation's Yellow Submarine. Number 39. The episode Everything's Jake reunited DiMaggio with his Futurama co-star Billy West. West plays Jake's in-flesh best friend Goost and a scientist named Eric Adamkinson, both of whom mirror his roles of Philip J. Fry and Professor Hubert Farnsworth in the Groening cartoon. Number 40. Finn's hero Billy is voiced by Lou Ferrigno. Ferrigno is best known for his numerous portrayals of the Incredible Hulk. Number 41. The Lich's voice is provided by the man behind Hellboy, Ron Perlman. Number 42. While it currently appears as though Flame Princess has no interest in re-establishing a romantic relationship with Finn, her voice actress Jessica DeChico is a huge advocate of the pairing and wants them to get back together in the future. Number 43. Jeremy Shada, the voice of Finn, started a band with his brother Zach called Make Out Monday. Number 44. Shada had the most fun making Trouble in Lumpy Space because he and DiMaggio loved impersonating lumpy space people. Number 45. When asked if he and Finn had anything in common, Shada said both of them are terrible at math. Number 46. DiMaggio's favorite Adventure Time fan creation is a mashup of Jake's Bacon Pancakes song and Jay-Z's Empire State of Mind. Number 47. The original lyrics for the song All Warmed Up Inside were a bit too suggestive. Sugar's original demo started off the song with "Oh Flame Princess, I like your dress. You're like a beautiful treasure. I want to open your chest." Number 48. Flame King's original response to the song was even less subtle, his line being, "A fire inside my body? That's pornographic." Number 49. Marceline's famous Fry song was originally much darker. It focused more on her father abandoning her and the issues she had because of it. A verse in the original song, "Why did you make me if you're not gonna take me to get a burger and shaky?" inspired the idea that her father ate her fries, and with Ward's help, it became the song we know and love today. Number 50. The song that plays during the show's credits is called Christmas Island. It was written and performed by the indie band Lake. Number 51. In Simon and Marcy, Simon sings a song called Where Everybody Knows Your Name.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got!
Unlike just about every song performed in the show, this is not a song created by the Adventure Time staff. The song is actually the theme to an American sitcom, Cheers, which ran from 1982 to 1993. Number 52. Some of the scenes in King Worm were based on YouTube poop videos. Pendleton Ward is a big fan. Number 53. The name Catalyst Comic may be a play on a device used in writing stories called a catalyst, an inciting incident that sets the narrative's conflict into motion. This would hold true for the Catalyst Comic, which sets up a conflict that causes Finn and Jake to spring into action and stop its collision with Earth. Number 54. In the episode No One Can Hear You, the deer sticks candy people to the sewer walls in a gooey substance, and the xenomorphs from the Alien franchise trap their prey in an identical manner. Number 55. In the episode Red Starved, it's revealed that Finn suffers from a form of color blindness known as deuteranomaly, where one often mixes up red and green colors. Number 56. Despite establishing that Finn has a fear of the ocean in Season 1, he doesn't appear fazed by it at all when he and Jake are at the beach during the earlier episode, Business Time. Number 57. The most heavily censored episode in the series is Trouble in Lumpy Space for its seemingly endless innuendos. Number 58. The Braille message in The Great Birdman actually reads, "Dear Zergiak, thank you for your donation. The kidneys fit great." Number 59. The show's staff referred to the shapeshifter seen in Joshua and Margaret's investigations as the Peeper. Number 60. The crew behind Trouble in Lumpy Space forgot to include a snail cameo in the episode. The snail was added in later after the episode first aired and now appears in the rerun version. Number 61. The new intro sequence seen throughout the miniseries Stakes was created by Masaki Yusa's animation studio called Science Saru. Number 62. In Stakes, there is an episode where Princess Bubblegum is seen wearing an intriguing dress. This dress is a traditional Korean hanbok. It fits in line with the Korean undertones that are pervasive throughout the show. Number 63. In the episode Everything Stays, Two Bread Tom and Marceline sing a cover of the song According to Our New Arrival, the theme song from the sitcom Mr. Belvedere. Number 64. The Hierophant, the Fool, the Moon, and the Empress, the opponents that Marceline faces off against in Stakes, share their name with tarot cards. Number 65. Despite the fact that Food Chain is non-canonical, the song featured in the episode reappears at the end of The Cooler, performed by Finn and Jake. Number 66. The episode A Glitch is a Glitch was single-handedly written, storyboarded, and directed by animator David O'Reilly. Number 67. The Season 4 episodes Bimo Noir and Princess Potluck take place at the same time. In both episodes, Jake's appearance at the end of each is identical, and Finn has lost a sock. Number 68. Although it's never revealed in the episode itself, the theme of Another 5 Short Graybles is the 5 stages of grief. The first Grable shows Finn accepting a package from Jake. The second Grable shows Princess Bubblegum denying Cinnamon Bun his nightlight. The third Grable has Ice King bargaining with his penguins over what movie they should watch. The fourth depicts Lemon Grabs being angry at each other. And the final Grable, the fox notices a depression in his bed shaped just like him. Number 69. When BMO cracks their screen in BMO Lost, the character's face closely resembles the macOS Finder logo. Number 70. Finn's name may be derived from Finn McCumhale, a legendary Irish hero from the 3rd century. Number 71. The Ice King heavily resembles the Winter Warlock from the Christmas special Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Both characters can command snow and initially appear evil until it's revealed they have a warmer side to them. Number 72. Gunter's true form, Orgalorg, was originally intended to be the antagonist of a scrapped Adventure Time made-for-TV movie. Number 73. The Earl of Lemongrab appears to have haphophobia, or in layman's terms, the fear of being touched. Number 74. 74. One of the few things Lemongrab deems acceptable are tree trunks, apple pies. Number 75. Marceline loves music in the key of E flat. This is why she sings in lower keys. Number 76. When Marceline was a child, she fell into a pig pen and was licked by a huge hog that smelled putrid, unlike anything she had ever whiffed. From that moment on, she developed a fear of all pigs and hogs, with the experience becoming a recurring nightmare for her. Number 77. Pigs aren't Marceline's only Achilles heel. The Vampire Queen developed a deep hatred of celery after a piece of it got caught in her teeth as a child. Removing it proved to be a traumatic experience for her. Number 78. Marceline's tongue is forked because she accidentally bit the tip of it while chewing a piece of gum. Number 79. Marceline's ex-boyfriend Ash was arrested by the East Ooh Police Precinct for fencing stolen property, impersonating a wizard under the name Rag Wizard, stealing memories, and the totally legitimate crime of being a general pain in the butt. Number 80. Hunson Abadir has existed for so long that he doesn't even remember his own origins. Number 81. Death was the drummer in Hunson Abadir's first band. He was kicked out by Abadir for being better than him. Number 82. BMO's voice is one of the many vocal settings on the device called Adorable Child. The setting tested positively with 20 imprisoned Nightosphere demons. Number 83. Lady Rainicorn's favorite drink is an iced latte without whipped cream. Number 84. Although Lady Rainicorn's body contains all the colors of the rainbow, it lacks the color orange. Number 85. Jake was taught how to read Braille by an ex-girlfriend. Number 86. Flame Prince and Lady Lemongrab made their first appearance in the Adventure Time comics, not the TV show. Number 87. Jeremy Shada, the voice actor of Finn, states that the age gap between Finn and Jake is due to Jake's age being represented in dog years. In human years, both characters balance out. Number 88. Peppermint Butler has a vampire hunting kit to use on Marceline in case she ever goes rogue. Number 89. Peppermint Butler uses Cinnamon Bun as a vessel to communicate with spirits. Number 90. Princess Bubblegum suitor Braco has a helmet on the shelf in his room that resembles the one worn by Boba Fett in the Star Wars saga. Number 91. The Fiona and Cake episode, Bad Little Boy, is the first episode in the entire series where Finn and Jake do not appear at all. Number 92. After Jake tears up Finn's backpack to get the gold tooth in Gut Grinder, a piece of paper can be seen amongst the items that fall out of Finn's backpack. It reads, "Do not lose this paper, PB." Number 93. The lion form Jake takes in You Made Me resembles Pon de Leon, the mascot of a Japanese donut house. Number 94. The character Blastronaut from The Hitman greatly resembles Samus Aran, the protagonist of the Metroid video game series. Number 95. Root Beer Guy was originally killed off to justify the Banana Guard's continued stupidity, despite them being under his leadership. Number 96. The alternative Farm World version of Finn seen in the Season 5 premiere was first alluded to in the Season 4 episode King Worm, when Finn looks into the mirror and sees this other Finn as his reflection. Number 97. Warner Bros. Is in the early stages of developing an Adventure Time movie. The film is to be co-produced by Chris McKay, who served as an executive producer on the Lego Movie. Number 98. Some of the games Finn and Jake play on BMO throughout the series, like Compy's Castle and Pro Football 1861, were made into full playable games for the BMO iPhone app. Number 99. Even though one of BMO's games is called Pro Football 1861, the first game of American football wasn't played until November 6, 1869, and the first game of professional American football occurred even later on November 12, 1892. Number 100. Adventure Time contains hidden messages written in a runic code. These messages can be found on anything from swords to pictures. Number 101. In the video game Adventure Time Explore the Dungeon Because I Don't Know, Flame Princess's introductory cutscene was censored in European versions because she calls Princess Bubblegum a tart.
You tried to destroy me, you tart!
The word tart is a slang term for a promiscuous woman in some parts of Europe. Number 102. Fiona and Cake became so popular that they received their own comic book series. The better news is that it's not written or illustrated by the Ice King. Number 103. The existence of magic in Ooh is the result of radiation from the Great Mushroom War. Number 104. One of the stickers Cinnamon Bun uses to attach his note to the front door in Earth and Water resembles Totoro from the Studio Ghibli film My Neighbor Totoro. Number 105. Above Marceline's closet is a head mounted to the wall that looks identical to the head of the Pale Man from Guillermo del Toro's film Pan's Labyrinth. To make the reference complete, mounted to the right of the head is a severed hand with an eye in the center of the palm, another distinct feature of the Pale Man. Number 106. The fan character that is most often requested to become a real character in the show is Water Princess. And finally, number 107. In the Simpsons episode Treehouse of Horrors 25, an alternative version of the Simpsons family that resembles characters from Adventure Time can be seen at the end of the final story.
What would Adventure Time be without the slang-slinging human boy himself? Well, it would actually still be pretty wicked and awesome, but it would be missing a certain special something, don't you think? Finn the human is integral to the Adventure Time experience, but what do we actually know about him? Well, let's find out, shall we? This is 107 Finn the human facts you need to know.
What human being would consider a dog his brother, be romantically in love with bubblegum, feel bad for mean ugly witches, cover up his long beautiful locks, and, oh yeah, fight off bad guys all the time to save the world and help everyone in need? One mathematical dude named Finn Mertens. That's who. And we're here today to check out this awesome buff baby who can punch a yo buns. Hi everyone, I'm Justin with ChannelFrederator, and oh my glob, these are 107 facts about Finn the human. Let's get algebraic. Finn was raised by dog detectives Joshua and Margaret alongside his magical dog best friend and adoptive brother, Jake, and Joshua and Margaret's non-magical dog son, Jermaine. According to producer Adam Muto, while Finn's birth parents and original home are significant plot points in the series, his true parents are Joshua and Margaret, and his real home is Ooh. Finn has another adoptive brother, who is a koala bear rebel leader of sorts, and on the lam, his dad Martin names a koala, Martin 2, who he takes under his wing before abandoning him in the same manner he keeps abandoning Finn. At least his parenting is, consistent. A monster form Finn takes in the episode Don't Look resembles Martin. Kinda dark, but not a surprise given the direction the show took with that character. Finn has a baby brother in the alternate farm world timeline. This opens up the possibility that if Finn's birth parents hadn't separated soon after Finn was born, he might have had a sibling in the main timeline. As mentioned in 107 Facts About Adventure Time, Finn got his name due to his adoptive parents thinking he looked like a mudfish. Fish, of course, have fins. Naturally, they didn't know much about humans, given that Finn was only one of the few on the mainland of Ooh. In the comics, Finn's original name Pen, which was used in the pilot, is canon. He reveals he made everyone call him this because of how much he liked pens. In Gaelic, Finn's name means fair-haired and is specifically about the blonde and blue eyes appearance found in Scandinavian people. Given Finn's blonde hair, this is a perfect fit. Not to mention there's also a famous mythical Irish hero named Finn. Mr. Matt Cumhale, otherwise known as McCool, looks like Finns are just epic. Finn's last name, Mertens, is a Dutch variant of the name Martin, which is obviously his dad's first name, and means warrior. Some of Finn's gibberish exclamations are improvised by Shada. While there are some templates for these moments, he's been given leeway to improvise these for the character. Finn's codename, given to him by his original human civilization, revealed in the Islands miniseries, is Infant PG-87 Mertens. Finn has a birthmark that he describes as looking like a flaming sideways teardrop. Mathematical. Finn is revealed to be 5 feet tall in Dungeon Train. However, he has since grown and is now about the same height as Princess Bubblegum. Finn's weight fluctuates episode to episode. In the DVD commentary for In Your Footsteps, Penn Ward explains that his weight depends on how much Finn has adventured and on his diet, which is famously bad. And of course, his changing appearance between different storyboard artists could be another reason behind these shifts. As part of Finn's real-time-ish aging process depicted throughout the show, he actually grows facial hair, but BMO plucks it out every morning so he can look young forever. If only if we had that luxury. In a WonderCon panel, producer Adam Muto said that they were considering giving Finn an awkward puberty mustache for a period of time. Before Islands, Finn was one of 4 humans on the show, the others being Susan Strong, Betty, and his dad Martin. Muto said that being the supposed last human is far from the most important thing about Finn. According to an Adventure Time DVD special feature called Little Did You Know, Finn's official occupation is hero, and one of his special skills is making origami cranes. Finn has had an innate hero instinct since he was a baby. This is confirmed when we see him as a baby in the episode Memory of a Memory, proudly singing about being a buff baby who can punch a yo buns, and that if you're an evil witch, I will punch you for fun. Some of the heroism exhibited by Finn originated in creator Pendleton Ward's childhood. In middle school, for example, Ward petitioned his classmates to help protect the rainforests. Finn's supposed to be a little bit more hard-edged than a typical hero. Ward explained that his adaptive morality is something of a counterpoint to the do-at-all-cost attitude of the heroes in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Despite being a very brave hero, Finn actually has a few major fears. He's afraid of the ocean, clowns, spiders, and the Lich. In the Islands miniseries, it's implied that Finn may be a helper. His mother Minerva was a helper, which meant that she acted as a doctor in the human civilization. Earlier in the episode Do Not Harm, Dr. Princess, not a real doctor, puts a doctor coat on Finn, who briefly steps into the role and is pleased when he feels like he's doing a good job. Finn even has an ancient handbook for heroes called the Enchiridion, which he obtained by passing a bunch of hero tests and trials in the episode The Enchiridion. The current Enchiridion that Finn has is actually from the Farm World universe, since the original was turned into stone in the episode The Lich. Hopefully Farm World Finn won't need it anytime soon. Finn's alternate forms include the Finn of the Farm World universe, himself as an adult and old man in the Pillow universe, gender-swapped Fiona, persona and his past lives as the Huntress Shoko and a comet. Ward originally intended for Finn and Jake to be wanderers living in tents. Of course, now they live in their signature treehouse. Ward's process when designing Finn and Jake was primarily to create characters that looked fun and cool. Quote, "I try not to make art, I just want to make stuff that's funny and entertaining," Ward said, end quote, acknowledging that the show is, of course, still very artsy. Ward wanted Finn and Jake's friendship to have an element of realism to it, making their conversations things real friends would talk about and avoiding putting them against each other every so often. In fact, the entire show grew out of Finn and Jake. Their friendship was the basis for the show, and their character designs came before the world designs. One theory suggests that Finn fell into a coma alongside his regular dog, who he imagines to have magical powers in his fantastical mind. This joins the pantheon of coma fan theories alongside The Simpsons, Rugrats, and Pokemon. Ward wanted most of the characters to have a range of emotions and not just a single note, like dumb or annoying. This is in part because as a lifetime cartoon watcher, he'd notice his mom getting annoyed at some of the more exaggerated characters in the shows he would watch. So Finn has a natural sounding voice capable of expressing many kinds of emotions. Finn can change in subtle ways from episode to episode because each lead storyboard artist tends to provide a unique take on the character, and Penn Ward likes that aspect, saying he likes cartoons, quote, "where the characters can change." Finn's name originally wasn't going to be on the title card of the show, which in full reads Adventure Time with Finn and Jake. The title card for a short time simply read Adventure Time Presents. Finn and Jake's title cards that are in front of a blank background with just their faces were inspired by the opening sequence for Superbad. One of Ward's inspirations for the show was Dungeons and Dragons, and that's why in each episode that took place in a dungeon, he'd ask the storyboard writers to make Finn pocket some gold or loot to give it that D&D feel. The room where Finn and Jake keep all of their loot was improvised by Ward. Again, inspired by D&D, he drew a bunch of loot and ended up incorporating it into their home. Ward has stated that Finn's D&D alignment started out as lawful good at the beginning of the series and since has become chaotic good. Technically, Finn is a Goblin King. He was only able to leave his post by disguising Whisper Dan, a sort of robot assistant, as himself. Finn's spirit animal seems to be the butterfly, as he can control them with his mind at one point and was a butterfly in one of his past lives. Finn has red-green color blindness, which is revealed in the episode Red Starved. Finn's favorite color is baby blue, boy style, and while you think his shirt would be his favorite color, it's actually Munsell blue. Finn's missing some teeth, with one theory being that he likes to bite rocks and other hard objects, although, when in doubt, you can always go to the dentist. As mentioned in 107 Facts About Adventure Time, the romance between Finn and the princess he crushes on throughout the series is inspired by Archie comics. For a while, Finn's interests were focused on the older, wiser Princess Bubblegum and the younger, more volatile Flame Princess. Now he's moved past this with a low-key crush on Huntress Wizard and some other implied flings. In total, Finn has had 5 significant love interests throughout the show: Princess Bubblegum, Flame Princess, Huntress Wizard, Breezy the Bee, and Lynne from the Pillow World. Even though Jake has joked that Princess Bubblegum was Finn's ex-girlfriend, Finn realizes that they never really went out or were a romantic item, regardless of how big his crush was on her. Dating a girl made of fire can be difficult, especially when she's hot to the touch. To overcome getting burned, Finn wrapped himself up in a tinfoil burrito so he could hug Flame Princess. That's kinda sweet and weird, but sweet. Voice actors Jeremy Shada, John DiMaggio, and Olivia Olson revealed in an interview that Finn and ex-girlfriend Flame Princess will not be getting back together. That must have sunk a lot of ships. Get it? Since his relationship with Flame Princess, Finn has grown up quite a bit when it comes to love. He develops feelings for Huntress Wizard, who also likes him, but she feels as though they can't be in a relationship. Here's where the maturity comes in. Finn kindly accepts her rejection and wishes her all the best. Though it's in a non-canon reality that Magic Man creates, Finn's romance with Aaron in the episode Food Chain was his first romance with a non-royal person. Finn is technically married to Aaron. Well, sure, the marriage happened when he was transformed into a caterpillar in Food Chain after a series of trippy events, but still. Not to mention, Finn did technically promise to remarry Aaron when they meet again in an alternate reality. While having some relationship problems with Flame Princess, Finn was also married to Lynne in the Pillow World, which may or not be real. Looks like this relationship had so much pillow talk that Finn and Lynne had 2 kids, Jay and Bonnie. Unfortunately, when Finn came back to reality, he forgot all about his fluffy family. In an interview with Animation World Network, Ward described Finn as an Indiana Jones type, revealing possibly another inspiration for the character. Finn has a self-declared arch-nemesis named Tiffany. It's pretty obvious as he goes around yelling, "Finn, I'm going to kill you." Tiffany hates him because he believes Finn stole his friend Jake away from him and he is jealous of their friendship. Though it's not always depicted, there's a pocket on Finn's shirt which first appears in the season 2 episode It Came from the Nightosphere. Or maybe he just has similar shirts with and without pockets in his wardrobe. Finn owns 3 sweaters that he wears throughout the series: a yellow sweater he would wear to the Ice Kingdom, a pink one knit by Princess Bubblegum, and a winter sweater he wears in the holiday episodes. Finn is currently on his 2nd backpack. After being destroyed by skeletal guards in Mortal total folly, Raggedy Princess, along with other princesses, created him a new one, an identical one. In a Legend of Zelda-like fashion, Finn's backpack can carry a seemingly unlimited amount of items, at one point holding an entire family of fruit people. One of the many things Finn carries in his backpack is a music box given to him and Jake by their parents. It plays a lullaby that can lull the two of them to sleep. Aww. Finn's used a total of 5 main swords throughout the series: the Golden Sword, the Root Sword, the Demon Sword, the Grass Sword, and the Finn Sword. In the Islands miniseries, he debuted a new sword, the Small Sword, with a pirate-like appearance. It remains to be seen if it will stick around or was a one-time seafaring weapon. Swordsmith Tony Swatton created a real-life working replica of Finn's original gold sword, which he demos in his YouTube series, Man-at-Arms. Finn has occasionally been able to use magical powers, like learning ice powers from a free Jitsu book and a bunch of other wizard powers in the episode Wizard. Finn uses a hand-to-hand fighting style similar to wrestling, called the Choky Brokey style. The silly name was given by Jake. As we mentioned in 107 Facts About Adventure Time, Finn is visually similar to an early Pendleton Ward creation, Bueno the Bear. Bueno the Bear appeared only in some crude, short animations and as the theme for Ward's official website. Finn's hat is actually made of bearskin, and he's owned it since he was a baby. A number of official real-life Finn hats exist that were distributed by Cartoon Network. Finn's hat may have a practical purpose. In the Stakes miniseries episode Everything Stays, the humans on the mainland that Marceline encounters are wearing animal-looking hats to protect them from vampire bites. Just like his age and weight, Finn's hair fluctuates in length. Originally, underneath his hat, he had long blonde hair, then at various points he shaved it off, regrew it, shaved it off again, and as of now, it's long again. As mentioned in 107 Facts About Adventure Time, Finn reveals his favorite food is meatloaf in the episode Still. However, he's shown in a number of episodes to have a thing for Finn cakes, which are cupcakes with his face on them. These must come in a close second. Finn cakes have a simple recipe you can make for yourself. They're just chocolate cupcakes with vanilla frosting and marshmallows for the ears. You'll have to figure out the Finn face for yourself though, and unfortunately, only Finn can eat Finn cakes. Finn's first comic book appearance was in Boom Studios' Adventure Time series. The first issue was written by Ryan North, author of the Dinosaur Comics webcomic. Another of Finn's talents, a Super Ultimate High Five, which he entered into Princess Bubblegum's talent show with Jake as his partner. Finn can also spit very far. He does this in multiple episodes, and at one point, Jake claims Finn could have easily beaten a dungeon monster in a spitting competition. You'd think the dungeon monster would have quite the advantage. In Video Makers, it's revealed that Finn and Jake host a weekly film club in their treehouse, which includes most of their friends seen throughout the series. Finn's favorite song when he was 2 is 3 Baby Spiders, and if he still enjoys it, he's too embarrassed to admit it. Finn briefly served someone other than Princess Bubblegum as a nice knight for the Nice King. The Nice King turned out to be the Ice King without a beard. Finn and the Ice King have always had a complicated relationship. They're not quite enemies, but not friends either. Finn no longer sees the Ice King as evil once he learns the truth about Simon. This is confirmed in the episode Don't Look, in which Finn is given cursed eyes that turn whoever he looks at into how he truly sees them. When Finn looks at the Ice King, he is transformed into Simon. This shows that Finn tends to see the good side of people, and he knows that deep down, Simon is still in there. Finn can auto-tune his voice at will, meaning that the songs he sings in auto-tune are not a stylistic flourish, but his actual voice. He gained this ability after swallowing a computer in real life. In addition to appearing in live action in a Cartoon Network promo, and in animated and Cartoon Network form, Finn has appeared in claymation in the episode Bad Jubies, and in CGI in the episode A Glitch is a Glitch. It's clear that Finn likes to sing, having sung over 30 songs throughout the entire series so far. Which is your fave? I like All Gummed Up Inside. In the episodes Dungeon Train and Pahoy, actor Jonathan Frakes of Star Trek The Next Generation does the adult voice for Finn. Pahoy even has a similar plot to the Star Trek The Next Generation episode Inner Light. In Spain, France, and Japan, Finn's voice actors are all women. In the French version of the show, Finn's voice actor also provides the voice for his gender-swapped counterpart, Fiona. Throughout the series, Finn uses a lot of math terms. Mathematical is cool, while math by itself is sort of a swear word. Another of Finn's weird slang terms, in The Jiggler, he calls grapes purple whatevers. It could catch on. Maybe. Even though Finn says mathematical a lot, according to Princess Bubblegum, there's some irony to this because he's terrible at math. In a Comic-Con panel, Ward claimed that Finn's toughest enemy is the stag, introduced in the episode No One Can Hear You, who cripples Finn by breaking his legs. He jokingly called the stag Sea Crag, though it is never mentioned in the episode. Finn has lost an arm twice, once in Escape from the Citadel, after which it grew a flower from the limb that later turned into the Grass Sword, and then again in Reboot, where the Grass Sword was removed and combined with the Finn Sword to make Fern. In The Tower, Finn grows an imagined telekinetic spirit arm. This is loosely based on a real-life phenomenon called phantom limb syndrome, in which someone who loses a limb, such as an arm or a leg, still feels as though it's there. Currently, Finn has a prosthetic metal arm. Given that most past, future, and alternate timeline versions of Finn depict him without an arm, this could possibly be how he will remain until the series ends next season, but we'll just just have to watch and find out. Jeremy Shada based his voice for Finn on a version of himself, rather than other cartoon characters, meaning Finn's voice is pretty unique and original. Some of Finn's doppelgangers include a bear that impersonated him, mirror versions of himself, the Chimera Stormo created in part of his DNA, and most recently Fern, the grass sword fused with the alternate reality Finn from the Finn sword. Finn has been turned into bread, a hug wolf, a demon, a cat, lumpy space Finn, a zombie, and a foot. Disguises worn by Finn include the wizard Magic Fist, the fancy Prince Hotbod, a split personality of sorts named Davy, and Jake Shadow. Finn owns a flip phone with a touchscreen, which pretty much sounds like the coolest phone ever. It replaced his old phone that looked more like a radiation detector or something. Jeremy Shada ultimately wants Finn to end up with a princess by the end of the series. What do you think? Tell us in the comments. In total, Finn does not appear in 14 episodes of the series, and there are a total of 7 episodes in which he has no dialogue. Artsy. Finn has appeared in 2 other cartoons, the parody Cartoon Network show Mad, and a weird cameo in a dungeon alongside Jake in Futurama. Bart Simpson appeared dressed as Finn in the Adventure Time themed intro to The Simpsons. Finn has appeared in 5 official Adventure Time video games, including most recently 2015's Adventure Time Finn and Jake Investigations, in addition to a number of apps. An Adventure Time DLC recently added to Minecraft now lets you use a Finn skin, and he's also a character in the games LEGO Dimensions and Fusion Fall. The LEGO Ideas program, where an idea for a LEGO set can be made with enough votes, produced a LEGO Adventure Time set, including an official LEGO version of Finn. Right here, I got him. Due to an extensive merchandising campaign, more than 30 different officially licensed toy versions of Finn exist. As well as being a TV star, Finn's a bona fide comic book character. He's appeared in 152 official Adventure Time comic books in total. In August 2017, an Adventure Time regular show crossover comic will be released, meaning that Finn will have a chance to meet up with Mordecai and Rigby. Think Finn will be a fan of the fist pump? In the Cartoon Network live-action promo What Time Is It?, Finn is portrayed by real-life actor Christopher Crane. Adventure Time is censored in a lot of other countries. One example is in the episode The Thin Yellow Line. The moment when Finn is making a file about Jake because he's being a wiener was cut in the UK and Spain. Finn is referenced in rapper Tyler the Creator's song She when he raps, "We can begin the pretend game, I want to be Finn from Adventure Time." So do I, Tyler. So do I.
If Finn's gonna get his own video, you better believe Jake is too. The magical dog is my favorite character, bar none, and possibly my role model. Yeah, I'll admit it. We definitely had to snag some more facts for the gruff-voiced legend. And then we had to put them together. And then we had to upload it to YouTube. Here's 107 Jake the Dog facts you need to know.
Jake the dog is totes awesome when it comes to saving the day alongside his brother Finn the human, but when Jake's at home, he's just your average musician slash chef slash party animal making bacon pancakes. What's up guys, this is Jacob, or Jake I guess, with ChannelFrederator, and today we're counting down 107 mathematical facts about Jake the dog. What time is it? Time to get started. What, were you expecting me to say something else? Jake the dog is the son of Joshua and Margaret, 2 crime-fighting detectives as seen in the episode Joshua and Margaret Investigations. Jake was conceived when a shape-shifting monster bit his father on the head during an investigation. Jake was later born out of the bump that formed as a result of the creature's attack. A natural-born performer, Jake's first words were a song and dance number where he sang,
"Hello, Daddy. Hello, Mommy. It's so nice to be here with you now."
Jake's birth is very similar to that of Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom and war. According to the Greek mythology, Athena was born out of the head of her father Zeus. Seems similar, right? Jake was never told the truth about his past. In the episode The Witch's Garden, Jake tells Finn that he thinks he received his magical powers from rolling in a mud puddle as a puppy. We, the viewers, learn the truth in Joshua and Margaret Investigations, but the end of this episode shows their parents agreeing to never tell Jake the truth. For those of you who have never seen the show, if you even exist, Jake can shapeshift to a remarkable degree. That means he can stretch, shrink, and contort every part of his body by means of rearranging organs and bones, or even by adding and subtracting body parts. This is most likely due to being born from a shapeshifter's bite. Jake has a half-brother named Jermaine. The two have a weird brotherly connection that allows them to communicate via their dreams. It's usually how they catch up on each other's lives. Like the rest of the characters on the show, Jake actually ages during the series. During the first season, he was 28 in magical dog years, but he recently stated that he's now probably almost 40, though he lost count
then is uncertain. Ah yes, that clears everything up. Very specific. It's unclear exactly how Jake ages in correlation to humans, except that it's faster. He's seen as a baby both before Finn and then alongside Finn, but then later he's far older than Finn. However, he must age slower than real dogs, since after Finn's 16 years of being alive, Jake has only reached the dog equivalent of around 40. A real dog's human age equivalent at 16 would likely be somewhere between 80 and 120. Continuing the age conundrum, Jake states that he is likely to live for about another 100 years. Perhaps it's due to the magical genes? No one knows for sure. We mentioned in our 107 Adventure Time Facts video that Jake's personality was inspired by Bill Murray's character Tripper in the 1979 film Meatballs, but his simplistic visual design resembles that of Dogbert from Scott Adams' Dilbert comics. Jake's not only Finn's best bud, but he also serves as a bit of a mentor, often giving Finn advice, sometimes even in song. Some of Jake's advice makes total sense, while some is pure nonsense. You never know what to expect from him. Jake once even gave Finn a whole explanation about how dating works. He said it has 15 tiers, tier 1 being hugging, tier 8 being touching her horn, and tier 15 being, well, Finn's not allowed to go to tier 15, so Jake didn't say. He just yelled at him to stay away from that tier.
Do not do tier 15!
Dude, I got no idea what you're talking about.
Jake's a big believer in fate and the glob world, probably because cosmic junk always intervenes with Jake's life. Like when Grob Gob Glob Grodd prophesized that they would meet Jake on Mars in the episode Sons of Mars. Jake was a career criminal before he became a hero. The episode entitled One Last Job revealed that he used to be in a gang of thieves that included Tiffany, Gareth, and the Flying Lettuce Brothers. It's pretty clear that Jake left his life of crime to become a hero/adventurer, but his dark side still comes out every now and then. That's because Jake easily goes mad with power in certain situations. We see this in the episode Furniture and Meat, where he begins bribing people just to see how far they'll go for money. Turns out people will go pretty far for money. It's, well, it's weird. It's really weird. It gets really weird. Sometimes, though, Jake's mischievous side comes out because he's just lazy and prefers to do whatever's easier, like just smashing all of the cutie people instead of helping them in conquest of cuteness. Although he's often depicted as easily distracted and absent-minded, Jake actually has his own newspaper column called Begs the Question. In case you missed our 800 other 107s that mentioned it, Jake is voiced by veteran voice actor John DiMaggio, who's also known for voicing Bender in Futurama, the Scotsman in Samurai Jack, Forearms in Ben 10, Gonza in Princess Mononoke, and many, many others. John has voiced Jake since the pilot episode, but he admits the show confused him when he first started. However, he now gets it after having watched a bunch of episodes, and he said, "I love doing the show, it's fun as hell." As a reference to John DiMaggio, both Finn and Jake cameoed on an episode of Futurama called Leela and the Jeanstalk, in which Bender and Jake meet face to face.
What time is it? Time for you to shut up!
A masterfully skilled musician, Jake is seen playing the viola, the acoustic guitar, the ukulele, the drums, and has even beatboxed on occasion. It frustrates him to hear anyone play music horribly, as seen in the episode Gut Grinder when Finn does a terrible job playing the viola. Shelby the Worm actually lives inside of Jake's viola. We also see that Jake, or someone, scratched the word toots on the back of it. It was revealed during the episode what was missing. The way Jake plays his viola is inconsistent. In some episodes he holds it in his right hand, and in others he holds it with his left. However, in the episodes Shh and Video Makers, Jake is seen writing with his right hand, which must mean that that's his dominant hand. Jake lacks formal training when it comes to battling monsters, and instead relies heavily on the use of his magical abilities to overpower his opponents. Seems like it's been working for him so far. Even though Jake isn't crazy about fighting monsters like Finn, he has a fascination with becoming a ninja. He's read all the manuals he can get his hands on. Both Finn and Jake temporarily had ninja ice powers similar to the Ice King's powers in the episode The Chamber of Frozen Blades. Unfortunately, they didn't keep these abilities past the episode. Clearly, Jake's magical enough that he doesn't really need weapons during combat, but he still owns a sword that we see on occasion. It has a skull for a pommel, an eye on the guard, and half of the blade is serrated on one edge. Without his powers, Jake can barely run for 10 seconds. He also develops a weird man-baby bod in place of his usual form, which we see in the episode The Witch's Garden when a witch steals his powers. Why does a witch steal his powers? Because Jake stole her donut. Real talk, if I had magic powers, I'd probably be super petty with them too. Regardless of his relationship with Finn, Jake admits that he really likes the taste of human-flavored soy products. It's not really discussed in depth, but apparently rainicorns used to eat humans. Maybe that's why there are so few humans left. Oh, right, and probably because of the vampires. Oh, also that great mushroom war. Yeah, that'll do it. Jake's relationship with Lady Rainicorn is supposedly taboo in their world because of the wars that took place between the dog and Rainicorn species over a series of land disputes in the Crystal Dimension. Of course, the relationship between Lady and Jake is a special case because Lady's parents, Bob and Ethel, love dogs. A dog saved Bob's life during the war, so they couldn't be more accepting of Jake. Apparently, Jake has a type. We all know he's dating Lady Rainicorn, but he once had a relationship with a pony by the name of Moniker DeLuise. As seen in The Great Birdman, Jake was taught how to read Braille by an ex-girlfriend who, according to him, wasn't blind, she was just really cool. It's never stated which ex-girlfriend taught Jake how to read Braille, but many fans speculate it was Moniker DeLuise since, well, she's the only ex-girlfriend we've seen in the series. And I don't know, she seemed pretty cool. Jake is actually a pretty jealous boyfriend. He gets jealous when Lady and Finn get closer in My Two Favorite People, and then gets really jealous when Cupcake Man flirts with her in Video Makers. Obviously, Jake can understand Korean, which is how he's able to understand his girlfriend Lady, but it's undetermined if he knew the language before they met or not, since he fetches his old universal translator device in the episode My Two Favorite People. When the conversations between Lady and Jake are translated, they're said to be a little racy. Specifically, a joke that Lady told in My Two Favorite People, which translates into a story of her and Jake running naked through an orchard together and eating apples from it.
That's the end of my story.
He may be in a committed relationship now, but Jake was quite the ladies' man before Lady Rainicorn came along. He's even seen giving pickup advice to a giant snail in the episode Slow Love. There's a very popular theory that Jake is also JT Dogzone, the famous author of the book Mind Games, which focuses on how to get women. This stems from two factors. One, the fact that we know that Jake is a ladies' man, and two, we know that he's a writer because of his newspaper column Begs the Question. Also, three, the initials JTD are a pretty coincidental match, especially since both of the last names include the word dog. Oh, and did we mention that Jake almost introduced himself as JT Dogzone in the episode The Pit when he meets a pretty girl named Samantha? He says,
I'm JT, the dog. I'm Jake.
Seems to add up. Do we have a cartoon conspiracy here? Maybe, but the entire episode might just consist of the word yes. He also gives advice to Finn and all the little people that sounds similar to some words in JT's book. He tells Finn it's all about the bumps in your heart. Later, when Finn is playing with all the little people, oh wait, that's the title of the episode, Jake is seen sitting by himself in front of a book written by JT Dogzone. And part of the passage that shows reads, "Now to be clear, JT Dogzone does not condone random flirtation with wanton babes, but rather careful consideration of which lovely honey gives your heart the bumps, because it's all about the bumps." Jake loves to take naps. This is known from the many, many times he sleeps on the show or wants to sleep, but it's especially evident in the episode What Is Life? Finn threatens to prank him so hard out of revenge, and Jake's response is, whatever, I'm gonna take a day-long nap. And he does, and then I was super jealous. Jake also loves ice cream, but ironically, Jake also has very sensitive teeth. This was pointed out by the Ice King, explaining that it's why Jake doesn't put ice in his drink, but it has been contradicted on occasion, like in the episode Princess Potluck, where Jake is seen drinking iced tea. Pickles are crazy nostalgic for Jake because his dad used to make them. The two would bond over his homemade recipe when Jake was just a pup. That's why Prismo likes to send Jake jars of his own homemade pickles. He's a pretty cool dude, that Prismo. Another thing he loves? Hot tea. We see Jake drink tea several times throughout the series. He even stays behind after Finn and Flame Princess go off to a dungeon adventure just to enjoy his cup of tea. If you watched our original 107 Adventure Time Facts video, then you'll already know that Jake was officially dead at one point. In the episode Sons of Mars, the King of Mars offers his immortality, and presumably his life, in order to save Jake from the 37th Dead World. The best part about this fact, though, is that the King of Mars was Abraham Lincoln. Jake has been through 3 different spirit realms: the low-level realm in Ghostfly, the underworld in Death in Bloom, and of course the 37th Dead World that time he, actually died. Jake often morphs into a suit of armor known as the Jake suit, in which he's able to encase Finn inside his own body for protection. Must be nice because, as previously stated in our original Adventure Time 107, Jake's insides smell like vanilla. Jake is a fan of Batman, or he's at least familiar with the character. During the episode I Remember You, Jake uses his best Batman impression to talk down to the Ice King when he says,
"Your constant harassment of the female gender makes me sick."
That Batman voice was specifically an impression of Diedrich Bader as Batman from the Brave and the Bold series. The inside joke here is that John DiMaggio voiced Aquaman, Gorilla Grodd, and other characters in the show alongside Bader. Though Jake is afraid of spiders, as seen in Marceline's closet, he also admits to wearing transparent pants made of spider webs, though they were spun by the hands of pixies, so maybe that makes him feel better about it. The Ice King once accused Jake of never crying because he's afraid of real emotions, and he was right. Jake's tearing up at his comment is proof enough for us. Poor Jake. I'm afraid of emotions too. Jake fathered 5 Rainicorn dog hybrids with Lady Rainicorn. Since Rainicorns age several times faster than dogs, even magical dogs, his pups all became similar in age to him shortly after their birth. Jake named his pups TV, Jake Jr., Charlie, Viola, and Kim Kil-Wan. There are 3 girls and 2 boys, and don't be fooled, the girls are actually Charlie, Jake Jr., and Viola, while TV and Kim Kil-Wan are male. It's a dirty little secret of his, but the pups were conceived in an old abandoned theme park in the Swan Seat for the Tunnel of Love, no less, which he groggily blurts out after crashing into it and knocking it over. It was revealed in a later episode by his ex-girlfriend Moniker that Jake always wanted kids. This might explain his overly protective behavior towards them after their birth. Once the pups matured, Jake seemed to ease up on his fathering duties almost completely. The pups have mixed feelings toward him because of it. Some accept him for his faults, while others harbor a little more resentment, though they all still love him, cause how can you not? Jake Jr. can shapeshift her hair, which seems like it could be a result of the genes of the same shapeshifter that bit Joshua, which in turn gave Jake his shapeshifting abilities. Nothing is confirmed though. What do you think? While the extent of her shapeshifting ability remains undetermined, we do know that Jake Jr. has a rebellious side inspired by her father's criminal past. She's seen reuniting his old crime ring in the episode One Last Job. His daughter Viola seems to share his passion for the arts. She's an aspiring actress, and a good one too. Jake likely named his daughter Viola after his and Lady's love for playing the viola. Another popular theory states that her name, as well as Charlie and TV's names, are references to the classic story of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, in which 3 of the main characters are named Charlie, Violet, and Mike TV. All the pups possess a combination of certain powers from each parent. These include things like flight, changes in size, teleporting, coloring objects, and various shape-shifting abilities. Jake forever remains a child at heart. We see this in comparison to his pups when they grow up and act more mature than Jake. Well, most of them do anyway. We're looking at you, TV. Jake starred alongside Lady Rainicorn in their very own Adventure Time promo way back in 2010. The video was a parody of a popular viral video that was circulating on YouTube earlier that year entitled Double Rainbow, in which a man is amazed by seeing 2 rainbows and questions what it means, even getting emotional. In the Adventure Time promo, titled Double Rainicorn, we see 2 Lady Rainicorns standing side by side while Jake comments on them and cries, "What does it mean?" The Simpsons and Futurama weren't the only 2 television shows to reference Jake the dog. He also made several appearances on Mad. Jake also had a popular appearance alongside his buddy Finn during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade 3 years in a row from 2013 through 2015. However, the floats were since retired after the 2015 parade. Jake's Bacon Pancake song in the episode Burning Low got so famous among fans that a mashup was made by one fan using Alicia Keys' chorus from the Jay-Z song Empire State of Mind. It has over 7 million views on YouTube. During the series, Jake is portrayed as a great chef. He's always seen preparing delicious-looking food like burritos, sandwiches, and soups, and he is constantly experimenting with new dishes like making, bacon pancakes, bacon pancakes. At one point, Jake used his cooking skills to craft the greatest sandwich ever made, which contained a variety of ingredients from Prismo's pickles to lobster sole to the bird from the window. It was so good that Magic Man appeared and took it from Jake before he could even have a bite, though that was more out of a desire to torture Finn and Jake, cause Magic Man is kind of the worst. Jake's love for sandwiches is unfathomable. He's even wasted wishes on sandwiches. Once in lieu of saving himself, once in lieu of saving Finn.
I wish for a sandwich.
Dude, I'll just make you a sandwich.
And once from a powerful wizard's wand that he just so happened to touch called the Thought Cannon. Yeah, you thought it was gonna be just once, didn't you? No, it was 3 times where Jake wasted a wish on a sandwich. Jake is such a good cook that even insects want to steal his food. He once made a soup that was so tasty a fly tried to eat it, but Jake killed it before he could. Then the fly's ghost literally haunted their house until he could have a taste of the soup. Some ghosts have unfinished business, like bringing their killer to justice. Some just want some soup. It's no secret, Jake would totally eat cinnamon bun if he could. He proudly suggested he and Finn do this during season 2.
Let's go eat cinnamon bun.
Jake loves apple pies too. He loves them so much that he really gets cranky when he can't get one from tree trunks, as seen in Dream of Love. Despite his magical abilities and his unstoppable love for junk food, Jake won't eat chocolate because, well, he is still a dog. Even he knows it would probably kill him. Jake was once a brick for an entire episode, or at least brick-shaped. He joined a brick wall to fulfill his lifelong dream of knowing what it's like to be a brick in an old shack when it falls over. Though Jake didn't get to experience the shack falling in the end, he did learn a whole lot from a little bunny. Jake is easily persuaded. He claims that he'll do anything if he's asked 3 times, as shown in the episode The Limit. The episode The Limit is a reference to Greek mythology, specifically the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur. When in the labyrinth, Jake uses the same technique as the warrior Theseus, who had the idea to use string to avoid getting lost. Of course, in this case, Jake just used his own stretchiness. Nurse Poundcake confessed to PB that she has a secret crush on Jake. I mean, we all know that Jake has a love for food, but that would just be weird. And let's be real, a very short relationship. As seen in the episode's storytelling, Jake occasionally writes certain letters backwards. It's unclear if this means he's dyslexic or if this is common throughout the Land of Oo. Did you know? Jake once wore makeup. He wore what looks like mascara, eyeliner, and lipstick drawn all over his face, looking oddly like a target to Princess Bubblegum's potluck. When Finn tells Jake that he looks like a target, Jake says that he looks pretty. See, you can be whoever you want to be. Own it, Jake! Jake loves the game Card Wars, but BMO refuses to play with him. Why? Well, he gets major rage upon losing, which Finn soon learns, and so lets him win. Don't mess with angry Card Wars, Jake. It is just the ugliest side of him. Apparently, Jake's love of the game Card Wars stems back to his 20s. He was once undefeated until he lost to a guy named Grand Prix, which resulted in an embarrassing tantrum. Jake's ex-girlfriend, Moniker, is now in a happy relationship with Grand Prix. It's unclear whether or not she left Jake for Grand Prix after the embarrassing incident, but Jake clearly maintained some hard feelings about it. During his 20s, Jake used to rock a luxurious ponytail and a ratty denim vest. Good to see that a late 80s, early 90s metalhead look has its place in the Land of Oo. In the episode Princess Potluck, Jake reveals that he hates cats. I mean, sure, he is a dog and all, but we wonder if this has anything to do with the fact that Grand Prix appears to be a giant cat. Despite his current happy relationship with Lady, Jake is unable to forget about his breakup with Moniker and let go of the embarrassing Card Wars incident until he gets the help of his wise daughter Charlie to face the root of his problem and officially bury his 20s. Most of the friends that Jake introduces Charlie to in the episode Daddy-Daughter Card Wars were listed in the contacts of his old phone. How do we know there was phone contacts? You can hear Jake read their names aloud way back in the episode My Two Favorite People. As part of his magical abilities, Jake is able to interpret poems just by physically feeling them. We see this in the episode titled Blood Under the Skin, in which he exercises this ability to help Finn on his quest to find the armor of Zeldron.
You don't just read the poetry to understand it. You gotta feel it.
Jake can sense whenever Finn is about to cry. This is described as a sort of mother-daughter type of connection between the two brothers. He can also calm Finn down with his saliva, and that is gross. As seen in Rainy Day Daydream, Jake has a crazy powerful imagination. It got so strong at one point that anything he imagined became reality, but it was only visible to him alone. It's in this same episode that we see exactly how much influence Jake's imagination has over his personality. He's not even close to the same person without it. Once he shuts down the imagination machine and actually loses his imagination, he's portrayed as bland and more robotic in dialogue than even BMO, who I'm sure I don't need to remind you, is a robot. In the Adventure Time comic book series, it's said that Jake is colorblind, but in the cartoon, Finn is actually the one who's a bit colorblind.
Sometimes red things are gray.
Jake has a love for Mozart and Beethoven, as he's been seen playing their music on his viola. 3 popular pieces he's played are Mozart's Ein kleine Nachtmusik and both Beethoven's Fifth Symphony and Moonlight Sonata. On occasion, Jake struggles with restless leg syndrome. Apparently, not even magical dogs are safe from the jitters. Initially, Jake refused to accept the fact that Marceline was harmless because of his fear of vampires. Their relationship got off to a bit of a bumpy start in season 1, what with him almost killing her with sunlight, but since season 2, they seem to be on good terms. Jake's no murderer of innocence, but he did once kill BMO's husband, Bubble. Popped him, with no notice. How dare he? Poor BMO! But spoiler alert, it's okay, Bubble was actually just air trapped inside of a bubble. He's free! Thanks, Jake! Unintentional heroism saves the day. Jake can remove his own bones from his body with ease and no pain. That's a nice trick, though I don't know how useful that is, other than making oddly specific trades with his daughter. Jake has a granddaughter named Bronwyn. Her father, Kim Kil-won, enlists Jake's help to talk to Bronwyn about her failing grades, but Jake and Bronwyn end up just facing off in a skateboarding competition instead, because Jake wants to prove that he's still cool. As if that's a thing he even has to prove. Jake has an eye patch collection that was in mint condition, but definitely not after helping this little fella seen in the episode The Jiggler. They also used to have a glass eye collection that apparently belonged to Finn. Rest in peace, oddly specific eye collections. There's a lot about this show that is just oddly specific. Barking doesn't always seem to come naturally for Jake. This is inconsistent through the series, however, because while he does bark in episodes like Gut Grinder and Goliad, we see his failed attempts to do so in episodes like Up a Tree. We do see Jake barking as a normal dog in the episode Jake the Dog alongside Finn, who's also changed in appearance. This is due to an alternate timeline referred to as the Farm World reality that formed when Finn wished that the Lich had never existed. Jake is a genius prankster and he loves to prank Finn. Finn does, however, get him back at the end of What Is Life when Nepter, his new pie-throwing machine come to life, throws pies at Jake as he wakes up. Looks like Jake has gotten better at it though, and is now always one step ahead, as seen in The Creeps when he turns Finn's own prank against him at their dinner event. This time he goes real far to make Finn think that all of their friends are dead. Ha! Gotcha! Just gave you irreparable trauma for the rest of your life. Good goofs with friends. That is a knee slapper. At the end of the Adventure Time Elements miniseries, LSP restores all of Ooh to its original form, including Jake, whose true form is revealed to be almost identical to the blue shape-shifting monster that bit his father. The shape-shifting ability makes Jake an excellent face for Adventure Time merchandising. Literally, you can get Jake's face on everything from underwear to the full-bodied Halloween costume. Speaking of Jake suits, the Simpsons dog Santa's Little Helper briefly appears having taken the form of Jake in the episode Treehouse of Horror 25.
We may not have 107 facts for every popular Adventure Time character, although if you'd like us to do that, let us know, but we do have a fun hypothetical video exploring the potential of 9 favorites. Ooh is home to many fascinating characters and creatures, and it would be a shame just to let them all be side characters all their life. It's time for 9 Adventure Time side characters that need their own shows.
There's little question that Finn and Jake's algebraic relationship makes Adventure Time what it is. But we're not here to talk about Finn and Jake today. Sure, they make Adventure Time, but one of Adventure Time's other greatest strengths is its amazing cast of supporting characters. Over the seasons, Finn and Jake's adventure has introduced us to many notable faces and shown us that the land of Ooh is a fully realized world. We've seen them rock the world of Finn and Jake, now let's see what it's like if they were to have the spotlight all on their own. My name is Tim, and today on ChannelFrederator we're taking a look at some of the Adventure Time side characters that we think deserve their own show. So without further ado, here are some Adventure Time characters that we think are ready to break out and act on their own. Number 1, Fiona and Cake. Okay, it might seem like a bit of a no-brainer or a cheat to start with Fiona and Cake since they are, after all, just gender-swapped versions of the characters who already star in the show. However, since the duo first appeared as part of fan fiction written by the Ice King, they've become beloved favorites, sparking the audience's imaginations to take them far beyond their initial mirroring of Finn and Jake. If the world of fan art and merchandising is any indicator, people are clamoring for more of this fantastic female adventuring team. And who can blame them? They are a lot more efficient at what they do than Finn and Jake, and there's something appealing about seeing the reverse world in which they live. From hipster vampire King Marshall Lee to the more threatening Ice Queen. Maybe the most logical spin-off to Adventure Time is a world we're already familiar with and love. Sure, it's not reinventing the wheel, but maybe it doesn't need to. Number 2, Peppermint Butler. Few characters on Adventure Time represent the show's perfect mix of cheerful cartoon nostalgia and deranged dark humor more than Peppermint Butler. A loyal subject of the Candy Kingdom and majordomo to Princess Bubblegum, old Peppermint Butler is portrayed as an even-keeled, diligent, and pun intended, sweet-natured individual. However, longtime fans of the show know that Peppermint Butler's personality and backstory reveal there may be something far more creepy and sinister lurking beneath his after-dinner cool mint surface. He's a known practitioner of dark magic, and he even has a relationship with death. Indeed, it's because of this relationship that Finn and Jake don't lose their souls to death, and all Peppermint Butler asked in return was their skin. Now, Finn and Jake still have their skin, so there's always a chance PB was just throwing out one of the show's trademark irreverent one-liners, but considering all the hints that support his dabbling with the dark arts, we doubt it. That's why it makes total sense to us to give Peppermint Butler his own series and explore his ties with the more gruesome side of the Land of Ooh. Sweet and Scary is, after all, a recipe for fun. It seems like there's a whole plot in here about how our favorite butler is the one that keeps the kingdom together while Princess Bubblegum loses herself in science. 2 PBs, but which rules the kingdom? The princess or the dark sorcerer she entrusts the kingdom to? Dun dun dun! Number 3, Tree Trunks. I know what you're thinking. How could a gentle and demure character like Tree Trunks possibly hold up her own show? But when you think about it, Tree Trunks has been the centerpiece for some of Adventure Time's most bizarre episodes. From her introduction where she dies to get a bite of the ultimate apple to her return as the insane overlord of an alternate dimension, Tree Trunks is a character who starts off with a grandmotherly appeal and instead delivers a whole heap of crazy. And if there's one thing Adventure Time fans have proven, they like it when stuff gets really crazy. We feel like Tree Trunks could serve up hilarity as easily as she serves up her trademark pies. And if that dichotomy of character isn't enough to support a show, then what about her raising the freaking Lich King baby? If raising a version of the Lord of Death isn't a compelling narrative, I don't know what is. Number 4, Prismo. A Wishmaster and dream manifestation, Prismo is a character who has the ability to traverse planes in the Adventure Time universe that aren't accessible to Finn and Jake. Because of this, we know this kind, cosmic being often rubs shoulders with some of the show's more metaphysical characters, like Death, the Cosmic Owl, and Party God. His contact with characters and worlds that are beyond Finn and Jake's reach mean Prismo could show us a whole new aspect of the Adventure Time story. Furthermore, the fact that the character is voiced by notable comedian Kumail Nanjiani almost guarantees the hilarity would never stop. Cosmic comedy with an out-of-this-world character? Sign us up. However, there's always a risk with characters like this. It's easy to overemphasize the parts of their character that we love without offering anything new. The trick to this one would be giving Prismo real problems and high stakes to make sure that, while he's hilarious, he also has to be an ever-powerful Wishmaster, capable of making the world a better place using indirect influence. Maybe that couldn't hold up a whole multi-season series, but it could support a mini-arc about the most powerful universal forces in the land and what they get up to. Number 5, Lumpy Space Princess. Come on, you thought we'd do a list of characters who deserve their own series and not include Lumpy Space Princess? Easily one of Adventure Time's most breakout supporting characters, the cult of LSP exists for a reason. Confident, loud, and proud, Lumpy Space Princess is somebody who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to say so. Fans have been captivated by LSP's no-hold-barred Valley Girl persona and always delight in her appearance in Finn and Jake's adventures. Over the course of the show, we've been given several glimpses into LSP's world, including a voyage into her home kingdom of Lumpy Space, and also a period of time where she lived as a hobo while fighting with her parents. Both of these scenarios alone seem ripe for a more in-depth look. Can you imagine a whole series set in Lumpy Space? Or what about a cartoon about LSP's time on the road? All we know is Lumpy Space Princess is one of those characters whose appearance always leaves us begging for more. If she had her own show, we'd get our wish. And while all of these moments would be hilarious, they'd also let us see more to her character. LSP might be the most capable person behind Finn, Jake, and Marcy. She lived on her own, she's acted as a princess, and she was willing to help with vampire hunting. You could take her in any number of directions without stretching her character beyond the believable. Number 6, all of the Nightosphere. Okay, so not exactly a character, but wouldn't you just love to see a series set in the Nightosphere? Everyone knows the most fascinating alternate dimension in the Adventure Time mythos is the Nightosphere, ruled over by Marceline's dad, Hunson Abadir, and populated by demons and all manner of spooky things. Now, if you're like us and appreciate the entertainment value of things that go bump in the night, then a Nightosphere spin-off seems like a no-brainer. It's also the perfect framing device to have more stories that center around Marceline. Maybe a prequel about her younger days with her dad before she and Simon met up, or maybe an Adventure Time version of Tales from the Crypt called Tales from the Nightosphere. The show already borders on gallows humor and dark sensibilities. Why not take the leap? Also, given Abadir's business attire, this could work as a dry, muted comedy set in a bureaucratic underworld. Number 7, Gunter. Once declared the most evil being in creation, it's sort of hard to see the Ice King's penguin sidekick Gunter as anything other than an adorable comic foil. You know, except for those moments when his playful activities lead to the detriment of Finn, Jake, or the Ice King himself. Or that whole thing when Gunter was revealed to be Orgolorg, a space creature bent on world domination. You know, the usual stuff one expects from a cutesy animal sidekick. Because Gunter's presence is so cute and devilish, we can see there being enough to merit his own show. show. Who would have thought that one of the characters with the most nuanced personalities would be the one that never says a word, unless wank wank is a word. But be it in penguin form or a vicious space beast, we're always down for more Gunter. Number 8, BMO. Now, one may argue that BMO, Finn and Jake's living video game console, is too close to Adventure Time's core duo to ever be able to break away and have his own show. However, in several BMO-centric episodes, we've seen the little computer with a heart of gold prove that he has an entire identity away from his crusading housemates. The purest character in the Adventure Time universe, there's an innocence that exists in BMO's presentation that is refreshing and sweet for the viewer, but also tragic. For example, in an episode where BMO befriends a bubble, the viewer experiences the joy of the relationship and then ultimate terror when the bubble is popped. Because BMO, of all the characters on the show, tends to elicit such an emotional response with viewers, we can see wanting to spend more time with him. The fact that BMO, a machine, is the embodiment of innocence and optimism is the kind of sci-fi material that would have made Isaac Asimov jump for joy. Maybe a spin-off about BMO would be the most philosophical, but it would also be the most sweet. Number 9, Firewolf and Snow Golem. In one Adventure Time episode that gave us a glimpse of Ooh away from the exploits of Finn and Jake, we were treated to the touching and humorous story of a firewolf pup separated from its family and raised by a snow golem. Despite the follies of mixing fire and ice, the duo transcended their differences to form a familial bond, and gave the series one of its most heartwarming pieces of storytelling. The episode, devoid of talking, except for a little bit from the Ice King, instead showed us the strengthening connection between two creatures via their emotions. But just like a Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner cartoon, the silence also provided the perfect ground for comedic moments as well. Since the episode already exists outside the world of Finn and Jake, it wouldn't be that much of a stretch to see the pair get united for a whole series of adventures. And honestly, based on the glimpse we were given, we can't say we wouldn't want a dozen more.
Watching Adventure Time can be a journey in and of itself. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll jump up and down on your mom's couch, the works. While the show is largely episodic, it definitely packs in some deep characters and plenty of opportunity for growth. And when it comes to the last stretch, oh boy are those some incredible stories. You could learn a lot from these characters and their trials and tribulations, so we made a video highlighting these lessons. Sit back, relax, and enjoy 13 life lessons you learn from Adventure Time.
Cartoons have had a long history of teaching lessons to children. After all, a lot of them are marketed to children, in the hopes of teaching them to share, and to buy official merchandise, which is like sharing your parents' money. But even shows that skew a bit older can be filled with a lot of life lessons. One of those shows is Adventure Time. So let's look at a few ways that watching Adventure Time might just make you a better person. Because honestly, I really hope that I can justify watching cartoons makes me a better person. My name is Tim, and today on ChannelFrederator we're counting our top 13 life lessons you can learn from Adventure Time. Let's get started. Number 1, the importance of knowing how to correctly slay a monster. There's a number of safety concerns with wielding a demon blood sword, not the least of which is a demon coming to reclaim its blood. Which is exactly what happens when Keoff puts Finn and Jake in mortal danger. Joshua really didn't have any business leaving that sword to his children. Like, I get it, he's a tough guy. He's gonna leave tools of violence, but that's a really dangerous sword. Still, this brings up a good point. Heroes should always know how to beat up monsters correctly. Vampires can't beat ghosts, for example. It's a rock, paper, scissors type of thing. Also, a circle of protection can't stop a demon sucking. That's in the episode, I didn't make that up. That's an official rule in Adventure Time canon. But you can't abuse that by getting a demon to suck up grape juice that's been blessed by a priest. Also, a worm can serve as a priest. Ultimately, if you're a hero, you should know what you're up against. Do your homework. It's good advice for school, and it's good advice for beating up monsters. Number 2, homies help homies. There's lots of advice from lots of shows about helping out your friends. Heck, one of the most popular cartoons out there right now is subtitled Friendship is Magic. So no, homies help homies is not exactly a new line of thinking. But the episode where this is used presents a second part of that. It goes both ways. Finn helps Jake pretend to be a rainicorn at the risk of life and limb. And Jake lets this happen, because hey, homies help homies. But if this is the code we live by, Jake also has an obligation to Finn that he isn't fulfilling. He isn't helping his homie. Fortunately, he learns this just in time to stop his friend from being eaten alive by his future in-laws. If you invoke the homies homies help homies code for your benefit, you must be prepared to fulfill your obligation as well. Number 3, everything always changes and always stays the same. The Stakes miniseries is pretty cool, and you should totally watch it. In general, it's a really good set of episodes and it has a rad opening theme. Also in this series is a song, Everything Stays, which is really flippin' good, and also has a really good lesson. Even when nothing is changing, everything is changing. Just because something looks the same as the way you left it, doesn't mean that it actually stayed that way. Like the song says, if you leave something out in the sun and come back for it later, you'll see how much it's changed by flipping it over. We always see how we change because we're always around ourselves, but we don't get that luxury in other people. For example, probably some of you are watching this in college. 1, this isn't studying and you know it. You can't fool me, I know you're putting off your paper. And 2, when you go to visit your house and you say, man, it's like everything is still the same. It's changed as much as you did. Seriously though, get on your paper. I know it feels fine to stay up till 4 a.m. right now, but oh man, you will regret it. Number 4, water park pranks are no joke. In the episode Water Park Pranks, Finn and Jake go to a water park, prank the Ice King, and then wind up in a situation even worse than Ice King's. It's a simple bit of fun in an art style not typical for the show. There's also a good life lesson in here, one I think deserves repeating at every available opportunity. Always obey the lifeguard. This is why I'm okay that things turn out so poorly for Finn in the episode. He broke pool rules. Maybe it's because I spent so many summers as a lifeguard. In fact, it's certainly that I spent so many summers as a lifeguard. But it's totally not okay to violate the rules of the water park. Finn and Jake, at minimum, risk significant injury to other patrons. Even if Gunter and the Ice King are lame. And Gunter isn't lame. The Ice King is lame, but Gunter is awesome. Number 5, a ruler should fear their people. After a brush with death, Princess Bubblegum realizes that she won't live forever and needs to think about a replacement. Unfortunately, the citizens of Candy Kingdom are, without exception, idiots. Okay, maybe there's one exception. Peppermint Butler isn't an idiot, but you don't want him leading either. Enter Goliad, a candy sphinx made from Princess Bubblegum's DNA along with other standard candy ingredients. It's actually very similar to the ingredients for the Powerpuff Girls when you think about it, and now that crossover is stuck in my head. So Finn and Jake take Goliad out to teach her about leadership, and it's quickly apparent that no one, not even Bubblegum, is qualified to teach anything about leadership. There's an initial lesson there. Having power and authority doesn't mean one is qualified to wield such power and authority, but it gets worse. Goliad decides that the best way to get people to do what she wants is to control the situation with telekinetic powers, robbing everyone of free will. Princess Bubblegum tries to explain that leadership should be collaborative, which is a bit rich coming from her, but whatever. Goliad explains her own philosophy on leadership. The strong lead because they can, and she is the strongest so she can rule over everybody. We expect leaders to look at the big picture, that's kind of their responsibility, but if a leader is given too much power, the picture they're looking at might be a little too big, leading to things like subjugation via mind control. Not all the lessons are jokes and silly, that one's just kind of true. You don't want people having mind control powers. Number 6, you can't change other people. Finn's dad, if I were to use Adventure Time style language, is a butt. He was never around, and the few moments you do see him, you realize it would probably be better if he never showed up at all. He takes every available opportunity to take advantage of everyone around him, and uses Finn's trust to take from him while offering nothing in return. Finn's friends and family generally agree he should cut off the relationship, but Finn wants a chance to make his father see the light. And it never goes well. Finn's dad never does change, no matter what. In the end, he cuts and runs one final time when he's given the chance to be made incorporeal. Finn watches his dad take the deal, and we finally see him give up the notion of controlling his father. It's a rough saga to watch play out, but it also tells us that we probably aren't going to change people. Sometimes that means making peace with flaws, and sometimes that means ending a relationship. But if we put time and energy into turning people into things they're not, we're bound to have a bad time. Number 7, the importance of loving unconditionally. The Ice King, down on his luck from failure to steal a princess, decides to steal just a little bit from each princess and create his own. The results are literally mixed. I suppose there is a lesson in here about how it's wrong to play God and wrong to try and construct a person by using the physical properties of another person, but the thing I want to point out is that one of the happiest times we see the Ice King is when he's rolling with the punches with his new wife. He learns to love unconditionally despite looks or weird personality quirks. Seriously, look at him, he's so happy in these scenes. Oh, I'd also like to point out that Finn finds her so ugly that he passes out. That's our hero, ladies and gentlemen. And the moment the monster princess gives back her body parts, the Ice King looks so sad until his comedic relief moment. It almost almost makes you wonder if the magic of the crown once again keeps him from feeling a real cutting grief that he would otherwise feel. Number 8. You can't force a happy ending. Jake is sick and he needs a good story to make him feel better. A story with romance, action, and a happy ending. So Finn sets off to help his brother out. He'll find the perfect story, even if it means he has to engineer the scenarios himself. It doesn't go well. It turns out that life isn't something you can dictate into a neat little story. If you're into YouTube, and since you're on YouTube, I assume you are, it's like John Green says, the truth resists simplicity. The animals have complicated lives and their problems can't be solved overnight. Being a hero for Finn means leaving well enough alone. That's an important thing to keep in mind about heroism. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes people are capable of solving their problems, and if you don't understand the full scope of the situation, you might find yourself making things worse rather than better. The best heroes pick their battles. Number 9. Don't wake people up. Prismo is a strong contender for the most powerful person in the universe. He grants wishes and he's open and honest about the ironic twist aspect of it. His power saves the universe at least once. On top of that, he's a really nice guy and helps people make the most of their wishes. He doesn't let Jake be satisfied with a mere sandwich. It's always good to see a wishmaster with some guiding principles. No wonder the great Cosmic Owl likes to hang out with him so much. But Prismo isn't all-powerful. In fact, he can be killed without much effort, though doing so is a cosmic crime. Prismo is the dream of an old man. If that man ever wakes up, then Prismo will die. And the old man has trouble getting to sleep, so it's not like he would come back anytime soon. This leads to the most important life lesson ever. Don't wake people up. Just don't do it. It's basically a retelling of the classic proverb, let sleeping dogs lie. Personally, I'm pretty hard to wake up. That said, if somebody manages to wake me up, I can't be responsible for what might happen. It's a tried and true lesson, but I think it's a good one. Waking people up is a cosmic crime and should land you in the worst conceivable prison for the entirety of your meager existence. Number 10. Be wary of the dangers of shipping. There was a time in my life when shipping referred to packages arriving in the mail. It was a simpler time, and while I'm not stupid enough to say I would prefer to return to the world of dial-up, that ignorance of the world was indeed blissful. Now shipping is a complicated ritual to determine the mythical OTP, or one true pairing, for all cartoons. That or it's a fun activity enjoyed by people who really like certain cartoons, with no motivations beyond that. It's probably the first one though. At any rate, Magic Man slips Finn a bag filled with little versions of the denizens of Ooo. As creepy and unnatural as that is, Finn takes a liking to the little people, and experimenting with putting them into various situations. It's a lot like typical shipping, but the more and more Finn makes crack pairings, the more and more their tiny world falls into misery. Shipping is dangerous. Love doesn't happen the way we want it to, no matter how much you throw two characters together. And it's important not to get too attached to your pairing, because it might not be what's right for the characters. You can't force love, it's in your heart. You gotta listen to the rhythm and feel the bumps and wumps. That's what Jake said. Bumps and wumps. Number 11. Things aren't always what they appear to be. Finn agrees to be the loyal henchman of Marceline, the Vampire Queen. It's hard for a hero to agree to do the bidding of an evil vampire queen, but he also can't violate his hero code of honor. He's stuck doing what she says, even if it's sacking the Nut Castle. That's a sentence I said in real life. It turns out though that Marcy is actually good. Good, but she enjoys messing with people. So the things she's getting Finn to do are, in reality, important tasks for the forces of good. Things Finn would surely do if he knew what was going on. Not everything is always as it seems. You have to think critically about the situation. Things that might seem good might be evil from a different perspective, or vice versa. Also, as a side lesson, you should really be careful about what oaths you swear if you have a strict hero code. Marceline might be a good person, but not everyone is. I suppose you could also just decide to have flexible morals, but that doesn't seem like a good lesson for a show to teach. Number 12. History is written by the victors. Finn and Jake lose their treehouse when the deed is bought out from under their nose. Finn can't understand it. After all, the land of Ooo has a pretty lax legal code, but there are laws and sometimes they're even enforced. So while Finn tries to comprehend, Jake launches into an explanation about laws and their origins, and it's pretty scathing. In the time before civilization, when it was every man for himself, the strongest managed to secure the best resources and left everyone else to take the scraps. Once they were satisfied, that's when they gathered to create the law, so they could always be in control. As Jake says, once they were winning, they changed the rules. It's a pretty biting critique of law, and while anarchy isn't exactly a great system either, It does present an interesting fact and lesson. Victors tend to write history and law, and they're not going to write about themselves in ways that are unflattering or give somebody else an advantage. There's a lot of subjectivity in the way history's written, and even if you agree with something, it's probably important to consider the source. Remember when people said this show was just a happy-go-lucky D&D style adventure romp? Yeah, me neither. And number 13, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. Sometimes you suck. You just do. A lot of people do. And they feel really bad about it. Maybe those people wouldn't feel so bad if they spent more time watching cartoons. Casual escapism or genuine life advice? Why can't it be both? When Finn tries to spend time being peaceful, he realizes he's wired to solve problems with violence. And he's really bad at solving problems any other way. Even when he tries to create things, he turns them into instruments of death. He gives funeral shoes a switchblade. He's down on his luck until Jake offers the phrase, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. That's really good advice, not just because it points out that sucking at things is an important first step, but that you're going to have to stick with it for a long time. You don't go from sucking at something to being great at something, you go from sucking to being sort of good. If you can understand that and put in the proper time and dedication, you'll go far. They're not all jokes. That's just genuinely good life advice.
Now, Adventure Time hasn't always looked the same, or sounded the same, or progressed its stories in the same way. In fact, things have changed quite a bit over the years. Enough so that we made a whole video cataloging the evolution of this legendary show. This is the evolution of Adventure Time.
Who knew a story about a boy and his dog best friend could be so deep? While Adventure Time has been great ever since the series premiered in 2010, it's gradually morphed from a smart and nuanced take on classic fantasy tropes into a full-on subversion of traditional storytelling. Hi, I'm Adrian with ChannelFrederator, and today we're talking about how Adventure Time has changed from its humble beginnings to its latest season. This is Then vs. Now, Adventure Time. Finn. Few aspects of Adventure Time have changed as much as its leading man. Leading boy? Leading boy who's gradually become a man at heart? Whatever his emotional age may be, Finn the human has changed in a big way since the start of the series. What's most immediately noticeable, revisiting episodes from the show's first season, is Finn's voice. Jeremy Shada, who's the voice of Finn, got the job at age 13. 7 years later, and while Finn has only aged 4 years, going from 12 to now 16 as the series progressed, the character essentially went through puberty along with Shada, with voice cracks and everything. Pretty realistic. The Finn of today now has a noticeably deeper voice than the Finn of the show's early days. Along with a more mature voice, Finn has also developed a more mature personality. According to Adam Muto, Adventure Time's current showrunner, the Finn of the first few seasons saw things in mostly black and white, or good guy and bad guy terms. As we'll get into shortly, the show ultimately doesn't have very many full-on bad guys, and as it progressed, Finn learned to see the changes in the people around him. For example, in the episode Don't Look, Finn acquires magic eyes with the ability to view people as he truly sees them. Thus, when he views the Ice King, he doesn't see the nuisance he was in the early season, but rather the tragic Simon Petrikov that he is. This shows Finn has matured and sees the humanity in even the most obnoxious resident of Ooo. Again, more on that later. Finn's relationships. Mirroring the show's progression, Finn's relationships with other characters have gone from subtly nuanced to, well, way more nuanced? At the start of the series, Finn has a pretty notable crush on Princess Bubblegum. Unlike most Princess and Knight stories, Finn never gets much out of it other than a couple friendly kisses and a lock of her hair that he kinda creepily holds onto, but eventually the relationship settles into a platonic friendship kinda thing. Calling back to Don't Look one last time, in the episode when Finn views PB, all he sees is a bro to hang out with, not a romantic interest. Meanwhile, Finn goes through a serious relationship and harsh breakup with Flame Princess, and then develops mutual feelings for Huntress Wizard that they ultimately decide can't be acted upon. In the episode Breezy, it's revealed that Finn's gone through a number of aimless flings in the meantime, which all in all is a pretty adult look at romance, especially considering Finn started out as a kid with a boyish crush on a candy princess. Possibly the biggest change to Finn's character is his status as the last human of Ooo, which is how he's introduced in the early episodes, before it's gradually revealed that there are like a lot more humans out there. First, Finn meets his dad Martin, who turns out to not really be the greatest dude and ends up abandoning Finn again to be some sort of new kind of cosmic life form. Don't you hate when that happens? Then in the Islands miniseries, Finn finds not just an island full of other still living and thriving humans, but his mother, who's uploaded her consciousness to a supercomputer. This time, Finn's the one who decides to leave, giving up the potential of life with his birth mother to return to his home in Ooo, with the people he knows and loves. Since Finn was first introduced as the last human, it's unlikely that the show's creators originally had plans to incorporate Finn's birth parents, let alone build such complex relationships with each of them. But this is another way that the relatively straightforward Finn has been given some serious human depth as the show progressed. Tone. Adventure Time wasn't always dealing with issues like parental abandonment. While its first season approached real problems like balancing friendships with romantic relationships and confronting personal phobias, the tone of the original seasons is pretty light and is very much committed to fun above all else. Its first episode, for example, revolves around a slumber party and breaking a royal promise. And yes, okay, candy zombies, but they're really more cute than anything. Other first season episodes include topics like Finn getting to know Jake's girlfriend, Finn and Jake pulling pranks on each other, and Marceline reclaiming the treehouse. All pretty light and simple problems. Ocean of Fear, in which Finn's fear of the ocean is personified by an evil spirit, it's probably the darkest the show gets in season 1, especially considering that Finn confronts but doesn't fully conquer his fear. But this is just a hint of what's to come, and was ultimately won amidst a number of more traditionally adventure-oriented episodes. 3 Buckets, which premiered in July 2017, begins with Fern, Finn's clone. Created from a combination of his grass sword and alternate version of himself from the Finn sword, Fern feels like he can't live up to the actual Finn and goes through a serious identity crisis. The episode moves from dark to darker, as Fern takes a heel turn and traps Finn in a big ziggurat structure, causing Finn to retaliate. Spoiler alert, and I really mean it. If you haven't seen it, just skip forward a bit. In the end, Finn reduces Fern from a being of grass into a pile of grass. Finn returns home to Jake, shaken and in tears. Yep, Adventure Time's now dealing with murder, and not of obviously evil monsters. While the act could be seen as something more symbolic of cutting ties with toxic people, or literally being at war with yourself, Finn's emotional reaction is very clear, that he's never taken a not pure evil life before, and now has to deal with the consequences of his actions. There's just a certain finality to it, right? Okay, maybe not the best time for jokes. Given that the shows had Finn deal with sacrificing his own happiness, phantom limb syndrome, and serious depression, this turn felt like a natural progression of the series rather than a shift. It's easy to forget sometimes that the show is about a post-apocalyptic future, which is a testament to just how dark the show's gotten since the days when an evil Heartman was the biggest threat to Ooh. Villains. Anybody with a passing familiarity with Adventure Time knows that the Ice King was initially the show's big bad guy, along with the Lich. Though he wasn't all that evil, and maybe could have been friends with Finn and Jake if he weren't so obnoxious and capturing princesses all the time. He was an antagonist nonetheless, with multiple episodes devoted to Finn and Jake putting a stop to his villainous schemes. Then Simon and Marcy in season 5 changed everything. The episode, which flashes back to about 1,000 years in the past, reveals that the Ice King was one Simon Petrikov, a scientist caring for the young Marceline in a much more apocalyptic version of Ooh. It shows that he first wore the crown that ended up turning him into the Ice King in order to keep Marceline safe. Since that reveal, the Ice King's become more of a frenemy, and sometimes just an annoying friend to Finn and Jake. Ultimately, none of the show's villains are safe from the show's aggressive humanization in the long run. The Lich, which is basically a pure embodiment of evil, ends up being transformed into a bighorn baby named Sweet Pea. Though he's haunted by thoughts of the evil Lich, in the recent episode Whispers, Sweet Pea resists the temptation of an alternate reality version of the Lich, ultimately completing his transformation into a bona fide good guy. Even pure evil got the chance to redeem itself, and redeem itself it did. The way the show treats its villains now is a far cry from its beginnings with Evil Heartman. Seriously, you can't forget that Ricardio the Heart Guy was an actual thing that happened. Episode protagonists. The show's full title is Adventure Time with Finn and Jake, so it's really no surprise that the show's format began by chronicling, well, the adventures of Finn and Jake. But even that most basic premise fell by the wayside, with full episodes and in some cases, multiple episodes in a row, focusing on other characters entirely. Season 8 had the episode Jelly Beans Have Power, which chronicles Princess Bubblegum trying to get in touch with newly awakened candy powers. The episode High Strangeness is totally out there and explores how Tree Trunks had a fling with a space alien. Yes, we're serious. And even the season 9 episode Ketchup is mostly just a storytelling session between Marceline and Bimbo. 2 whole episodes are devoted to the Root Beer Guy saga, who, until his speaking debut in season 5's Root Beer Guy, had just been a background candy person. While this first episode is a fun genre experiment playing around the noir film tropes, he returns as a major character in Cherry Cream Soda, where he's resurrected from the dead as Dirt Beer Guy, and his wife has to go through the struggle of reconnecting with a loved one thought to be lost. These diversions from Finn and Jake's story allows a depth into the show that provides stakes beyond the main character's lives. The audience gets to explore the entire world, and in the case of Cherry Cream Soda, it explores the complexities of those thought to have a lost spouse at war, which may be one of the absolute last things you'd expect a cartoon to tackle. The series staff. Probably the biggest change Adventure Time's undergone behind the scenes since the show's inception is the series creator Pendleton Ward stepping down as showrunner. Ward decreased his involvement with the show and became solely a writer and storyboard artist sometime during season 5, with no announcement until after the transition has been made. Ward is still closely involved with the show, having served as as co-writer on 2 episodes in season 8. Another major departure from the show was Rebecca Sugar, who wrote and storyboarded the first Fiona and Cake episode among others, and wrote many of the show's iconic songs like Marceline's Fry Song and Jake's Bacon Pancakes. Rebecca Sugar now works full-time as showrunner in Steven Universe, though she returned briefly to work on the Stakes miniseries in season 7. Other staff changes on the show have taken the form of guest directors and animators for one-off episodes. These include 3D animator David O'Reilly's A Glitch is a Glitch in season 5, Japanese anime author Masaki Yuasa's Food Chain in season 6, cartoonist David Ferguson's Water Park Prank also in season 6, and claymation animator Kirsten Lapore's Bad Jubies in season 7. And in this past season, Ketchup featured a sequence directed and animated by husband and wife cartoonists Lindsay and Alex Small-Butera, as well as a sequence co-animated by Over the Garden Wall creator and Adventure Time storyboard artist Patrick McHale and his young son. Heartwarming, and also explains why Finn and Jake ride on the back/belly of a giant cat. Allowing these new voices to each bring their unique approach to the world of Adventure Time has been yet another way the show has managed to cover new ground and feel fresh over the course of 222 episodes and counting. Episodic versus serialization. When Adventure Time first started airing, each episode had a very episodic and bottled feel to it. It was designed almost like levels of a video game, where Finn and Jake would accomplish one goal or defeat an enemy by the end of the episode before continuing on to the next task. As the seasons continued on, smaller arcs started to form revolving around characters such as the Lich, Magic Man, and Ice King. These all built into a larger story of Adventure Time and started to answer some of the questions that fans were beginning to ask, like, what happened to Ooh? Where did Finn come from? And where is all of this going? The later seasons try to tell an ongoing story of Finn and Jake's journey, rather than short bursts of random unrelated adventures that started the series out. However, the longer arcs in Adventure Time didn't happen overnight. Some have been building since the very beginning. For example, the Enchiridion that Finn earns in season 1 has several payoffs in larger story arcs, including fighting the Lich, and more recently when Betty uses it in the Elements miniseries. The Cosmic Owl was also introduced in the first season and seems to appear at key moments in the later seasons. He was originally just a one-off character, but now serves a more pivotal role in the series, helping to explain the meta-universe we're all trying to understand along with Finn and Jake. The shift in the show also coincides with the tone change that we talked about earlier. As mentioned, the show got a little dark in recent seasons as opposed to the light silliness of the first season. The darker and deeper the story delved, the more serialized the show became and began to give us answers. The introduction of miniseries within the show also provided a stronger sense of serialization, with Stakes giving Marceline her backstory of becoming a vampire, and Islands focusing on Finn discovering more about where he came from. Some fans feel that the shift has caused the show to lose its humor and charm, while others believe it's for the better with stronger storylines and developed characters. What do you think? Yeah, Adventure Time still rules no matter what. We know. Don't gotta tell us.
The era in which Adventure Time existed was jam-packed with incredible pop culture. Other cartoons were popping off, we saw some great video games, phenomenal movies were making their way into the theaters, and more. Of course, Adventure Time's gonna reference a bunch of stuff. And we noticed. Thus, Adventure Time references to regular show, Final Fantasy movies, and more. Ever wonder about what's actually happening in Ooh? How everything got to be the way it is? Why it's all so way cray? Well, you're not alone. And in this next video, Emily the Brave conjures up some theories about why Ooh is the way it is. This is the top 5 Adventure Time theories.
We all know Adventure Time. It's insanely popular and probably the most out there cartoon on television right now. Following the adventures of a human boy named Finn and his best friend Jake the dog, Adventure Time can be described as anything from science fantasy to surreal humor, and most commonly, post-apocalyptic. It's no wonder why the show has sparked so many conspiracy theories, and I couldn't pick just one. So, here are my top 5 Adventure Time conspiracies. Number 5. Finn is in a coma. Finn is just a regular boy, and his only friend in the world is his dog Jake. Already neglected by his family, after Jake dies, Finn attempts suicide, but instead ends up in a coma. However, in his comatose state, he's able to imagine a world where he can go on adventures with his best friend Jake forever. This is my least favorite conspiracy because, well, first of all, it's super sad, and second of all, it just doesn't fit in that well with the show. Finn doesn't know or remember anything from his past life in the real world because Jake's parents found him abandoned as a baby. So for this conspiracy to make sense, Finn would have to have been in a coma since he was very young. But how would a baby know about nukes, demons, the fourth dimension, Earth's core, comets, Abe Lincoln, vampires? You get the idea. Adventure Time has a very complex plot and deals with some heavy emotions. Stuff that a very little kid probably wouldn't dream up. Number 4. The stories of Adventure Time are actually just Finn and his dad's role-playing game. Jake is really Finn's dad, and the show is actually just a Dungeons & Dragons-like game that he runs to hang out with his son. Jake creates the villains and the challenges to test Finn's moral code and teach him life lessons. In an interview, creator Pendleton Ward said he grew up playing Dungeons & Dragons, and writing Adventure Time feels like he's playing D&D with the characters. And watching the show, you can tell that it's heavily inspired by this role-playing game. For example, the Enchiridion looks pretty similar to the Dungeons & Dragons player handbook. So while the plausibility of this conspiracy in the context of the show's plot is probably unlikely, it's still an adorable idea. Number 3. Adventure Time and the Misadventures of Flapjack are in the same universe. The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack was a show that aired on Cartoon Network until 2010, and it's where Pendleton Ward had one of his first jobs as a writer and a storyboard artist. Flapjack's dock town, Stormlong Harbor, could have been built after the Mushroom War, mentioned in Adventure Time. The events of both shows are happening on the same timeline, which could explain some cracks within the show's side stories. The candied island they saw in Flapjack was actually just Candy Kingdom. Peppermint Larry has been to Candy Kingdom and possibly used Princess Bubblegum as sort of a muse for his candy wife. Honestly, I couldn't find a lot that proved or disproved this conspiracy. It's possible that Penn's work on Flapjack inspired some elements in Adventure Time, and a reason these two shows never collided could be due to Finn's fear of the ocean. But also, Candied Island didn't look too much like Candy Kingdom. So really, this conspiracy isn't necessarily possible or impossible. Number 2. Simon Petrikoff's bedtime stories. The Land of Ooh and the Adventures of Finn and Jake are really just bedtime stories Simon Petrikoff tells to a young Marceline. The format of an Adventure Time episode is similar to that of a children's story, and that they usually involve learning some kind of lesson. Simon creates the character of the powerful vampire queen, along with an alternate reality to build the confidence of a young, orphaned Marceline. In this flashback, we see Simon kissing a young Marceline, and in his backpack, we see several books. Could these be the stories he's telling her? We've also seen the book Ice King writes about Fiona and Cake, so this proves that he is a writer and a storyteller. It's a sweet idea, but if this conspiracy was true and Simon was narrating every single episode of Adventure Time to a young Marceline, why does the Ice King appear so often? And finally, number 1, the conspiracy of the Great Mushroom War. This is by far the most plausible Adventure Time conspiracy. What could be the explanation for all these strange-looking characters and bizarre landscapes, besides the fact that it's a cartoon? Try nuclear radiation. The Great Mushroom War, referenced throughout the series, is actually a nuclear war that caused serious mutation. There are a lot of heavy hints in the show that allude to a great nuclear explosion. So here's everything we know about the Great Mushroom War so far. 1,000 years ago, there was a terrible war, and Simon and Marceline were the only ones left. Simon was saved by the bombs, which Marceline said bathed the land in mutagenic horror by a cursed crown that slowly turned him into the Ice King. After hundreds of years, the Land of Ooh came into existence, but this was only in one universe. In the episodes Finn the Human and Jake the Dog, we see an alternate universe where Simon sacrificed his life to stop the bomb. When Simon died, his crown covered the world in ice. But in this universe, we can see that the Earth is whole, as opposed to the Land of Ooh's universe where there's a huge chunk missing. So we can assume this is because of a nuclear explosion. We can also see nuclear bombshells at the beginning of the opening credits. This conspiracy is basically true. It's just never been admitted in the show. But nothing gets past us conspirators.
Feeling lumpy? Yeah, it happens to the best of us. But if it's happening often and you can't quite explain it, there is a slim possibility that you are actually Lumpy Space Princess. If this is distressing to you, don't worry. We've got a surefire way to find out. Check out the next video for 13 signs that you are Lumpy Space Princess.
Over the last 7 years, every Adventure Time fan has gotten the chance to fall in love with the many citizens of Ooh. I mean, even the Lich is cute now, but everyone knows there's only one person whose bravery, intelligence, and outstanding level of coolness makes them stand above the rest. That's right, we're obviously talking about Lumpy Space Princess. Everyone wants to be just like LSP, but first, you have to meet some very rigorous criteria of awesomeness. If you really think your lumps have what it takes, we're here to put you to the test. I'm Alyssa with ChannelFrederator, and let's see how you measure up against these 13 signs that you're Lumpy Space Princess. Let's get started. Number 1, you are confident AF. Let's start with the obvious. If you're truly a lumpy space princess, you are not some lumpin' poser. You are always, always the most beautiful, wonderful, important, stylish, cool person in any given room at any given time. At least in your opinion. You know how awesome you are, and your main goal in life is to spread that knowledge to others. And you're never surprised when everyone wants to hang out with you. Though sometimes people act weird around you because they're intimidated by how important and beautiful you are. But you can't blame them. Really, you'd be intimidated by you too if you weren't you, which you are, thank glob. Number 2, you like to have fun. No one wants life to be boring, so you make sure to live it to the fullest and have lots of fun.
Oh yeah, I'm having a fun time. Oh my gosh, probably the best time I've ever had my life.
So many people are totally lame, and you want to enjoy everything and anything you can. Parties, movie nights, potlucks, murder mystery nights, film shoots, you partake in all of them, and let your awesome energy shine. You live it up and hang with your friends every flippin' chance you get. Cause having fun and making totally awesome memories is the best part of life, you guys, and you deserve that happiness. Live it up, people. Number 3, you make everything look cool. We've already established that you're the life of every party, but when you come into a room, you do things your way, and you own it. And by glob, you can make anything seem cool. You can make a plastic bag look like a fresh and fabulous dress. You can drool fervently in your sleep until you create a puddle, and it's adorable. You could stuff food in your face at a rapid pace and look so fine while doing it, and you even look cool while vomiting. Only you can make these things seem totally rad. Oh, and not to mention, use totally rad Valley slang. All this coolness leads to this next sign. Number 4, everyone wants your lumps. AKA, you get hit on pretty often. It goes without saying that if you're an LSP, your lumps are irresistible. Everyone wants them, and some people will just not leave you alone. Steven, Ricky, Chad, Jessica, this is a great gift and a great curse. To your peers, you are an object of great jealousy, because when you put your lumps to work, no one is immune to their charms. And can you imagine the pressure of your love interests? You love often, and you love hard. Not everyone can handle that intensity. All your old bays, like stupid Brad, just don't know how to handle you and your intoxicating lumps. I mean, you can write a whole book about your lumps. You can sing songs about them. They are everyone's envy on the dance floor. On the other hand, those last two could also just mean that you're Fergie, but her lumps are clearly inferior. Sorry, Fergie. I mean, they're not even purple. LSP takes the win. Her and her lovely lady lumps. Okay, Brad? Number 5, you have lots of friends. Though you have lots of jealous haters, you also naturally have lots of friends. Who wouldn't want to hang out with someone so hot and fun? You spend a lot of time with those friends doing countless activities, and your circle keeps getting bigger and bigger. But you also have a BFF that you turn to for everything.
Hey girl. Oh, turtle princess.
You update him/her on everything, and she/he always has your back. You can tell your BFF your secrets, and she/he will totally always support you and your work. And ask your permission to date the dude that was hitting on you earlier. BFF code, you know. Thanks, girl. Number 6, food is always number 1 after your awesomeness. Food always belongs to you. All of it, without question. In the LSP rulebook, rule number 1 is always take the food, or find ways to make people give you the food. And let's be honest, anyone's food is fair game. It's your stomach on the line after all. Food-taking methods may include taking babysitting jobs, crashing state events and conferences, pretending to be a monster, or something you're not, and inviting yourself into other people's homes. The best food is obviously free food, and the best kind of food, of course, is finger sandwiches. Oh my god, finger sandwiches. Get in my belly! Number 7, your parents are so lame, and you can't stop fighting with them. See, some people deal with your awesomeness better than others, and it's really a credit to you that you've managed to become so great when you came from such lame parents. They just don't get you. They think they can tell you what to do? Well, they can't. And they have the nerve to say they don't think you can make it by yourself? Well, guess what? You don't need your mom, you don't need your dad, or their finger sandwiches. A tough, spunky, awesome individual such as yourself can make it on your own. Parents just bring you down anyway, so whatever. You learned earlier than most that you're way better off finding your own way, because you're just that mature. And like the Fresh Prince said, parents just don't understand. This Fresh Princess definitely knows that. So peace out, mom and dad. Double points in this category if your parents are literally conjoined. Number 8, you live on your own, even if it's a rough life. Runaway or not, at some point you left the lame parentals to live on your own. Now, someone as wonderful and cool as you naturally deserves the finest luxuries, but you're so humble that you don't even need those to be comfortable in your own lumps, even if you can get them, which you can't. Not yet, at least. But you're totally cool with that. In fact, just to show how independent you are, you sleep wherever, even outside, in in a sleeping bag, on a log that's rotting, while eating canned beans for dinner. See, you totally improvise and take care of yourself. Mom and Dad, you're the nomad type that can pretty much just go with the flow and figure out things on a day-to-day basis. And even if you've spent time with wild animals or wild makeshift beds, the musk just adds to the flavor of your bod. Other people are just jelly because you're a cool hippie. It's a hip throwback. It's not your problem if they can't keep up with you. You live the free life. Free spirits unite. No, not you, Steven. Number 9, you are totally fashionable. Though you have no problem walking around in your birthday suit, you also can rock any outfit and make sure to change up your style often. You can don the sexy red outfits, the glittery ones, masquerade masks, Christmas sweaters, quinceañera dresses, wedding dresses, and as mentioned, you can even make plastic and paper bags look like an amazingly trendy dress. You like to improvise with your clothing and accessories, like making an awesome lipstick out of custard. It's no wonder people follow you with all your great crafty ideas. Hot to trot. Too sexy for your paper bag shirt. Number 10, you're never afraid to speak your sassy mind. As a thoroughly independent go-getter, you are never afraid to speak exactly what's on your mind at all times, even if your perspective is different than most others. And you definitely are not afraid to say no. No one can get away with telling you where you should be, what you should do, who you should be with, even if you still want to be with Brad. No one will ever have to wonder what you're thinking. You'll make sure they know exactly what's on your mind, especially when they've wronged you, which is often. You'll make sure they know what you think, even if they haven't asked, because a mind so complex and fascinating as yours never stops processing and spitting out information, even slightly more colorful information. Number 11, you have ambitions/hobbies. Yes, you like to party and have fun, but that doesn't mean you don't work hard too. You have hobbies on the side, like writing your own book or doing some film acting, and you always give everything 100%. You even are willing to go undercover to do research for your projects, because you never half-ass anything. If you're in all the way. That's just the LSP way. Number 12, drama surrounds you. As the center of everything, a lot of drama swirls around you. Some of it you make up yourself, but that doesn't matter. You're just trying to make up for everyone else being so boring. And because you're an elegant princess, and you are a princess, damn it, breakfast princess. Because you're an elegant princess, you're able to handle this drama with dignity and poise, as if dealing with everyone wanting your lumps wasn't enough already. Part of this dignity and poise is just informing everyone about it, which leads to our final criteria. Number 13, you know all the gossip. Granted, most of it's about yourself, but everyone knows that's the real good stuff. You are the most interesting person around. One of the upsides of witnessing all this drama is knowing all of this drama. Your cell phone is a wonderfully skilled tool, and you've always got it in hand to help you stay constantly informed. Even while cooking your dinner in the forest, nothing can beat the blinding speed and doggedness of your thumbs. Being in the woods with no outlet is absolutely no obstacle to keeping a resourceful individual like yourself from staying connected. And like every good gossiper, you make sure to keep everyone up to date and to talk about your gossip all the time, with everyone, at any time. But seriously, Brad, why'd you do that, Brad? Just why? Oh my glob! Oh, glob, why?
And to round things out, here's an exclusive interview with Nikki Yang, the voice of BMO.
Hey guys, I'm Sapphire and you're watching Toon Buzz on ChannelFrederator. So today I'm going to be interviewing the amazingly talented Nikki Yang, who has done a lot of different things in animation. Right now she's a writer and storyboard artist for Clarence. And she's also been a writer and storyboard artist for Adventure Time, Family Guy, Gravity Falls, Fish Hooks, and she's also the voice actress on Adventure Time for BMO and Lady Rainicorn. And she's also gonna be a mom soon. Yay! Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Great.
So you're originally from South Korea and you moved to America to study animation. So what got you interested in animation?
I always loved the animation when I grew up. Like I watched a lot of Miyazaki's, and actually I was going to study more character animation, like character design. But I kind of falling into like more filmmaking and animation.
Okay, cool. What was your first role in the animation industry?
It was PA actually.
Oh really?
Yeah, and then I hate it. I mean, it's a good job.
You can be honest with us.
And I actually stayed only a week, and then I had a chance to take a test. So a second week I become a revisionist. Yeah.
Oh wow, so you were only a PA for a week?
Yeah.
Wow, moving on up so fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was lucky.
Yeah, no, that's great. What show is that?
Family Guy.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Could you describe your personal approach to storyboarding?
I just play in my head, like, you know, like film, like how does it work, and then just to visualize on the paper. That's my process.
You're currently working on an upcoming Bravest Warriors minisode, right? Without giving too much away, could you give us a little pitch on what it's going to be about?
Okay, it's about cow and phobia. That's all.
Okay. What is special about Bravest Warriors that makes it appeal to you?
I think it's when you hear the bravest warrior, you think like they're tough and, you know, they're a warrior, they're going to kick your ass, but actually they are very emotional. And I think that's the big part of the show, and then it's a very unique, and then that's what I like the show.
What's it like working with Penn Ward and the amazing team on Adventure Time?
Oh. Yeah, it make me laugh. Yeah, they're great people, and a lot of life and joke and relaxing, and yeah, it's talented people. I'm really lucky to work with those people.
Has anyone asked you to sing the BMO pregnant song since you've been pregnant?
I think they almost did in the Wondercorn. Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't ask me because I forgot like how it goes. Like I think like, oh BMO, how did you get so pregnant?
How did you get involved with voice acting?
Because all my friends are very talented, and then they have the show. I knew Penn while I'm making a short with the Frederator. After his show got picked up, he asked me if I am interested in doing voice, because he was looking for somebody who can speak Korean. I got try, and then they liked it, so I took the Reinakon position first, and then later on I think they were struggling to find the BMO's voice, and they just asked me like, hey, you wanna try? So I said, yeah, why not? And then, so that's how it happened. Very, very lucky.
Oh, great, awesome. So how do you think YouTube is changing the way animators work?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Like before, like you have to create with those big giant company, and then you need the distribution to reach out the audience. But right now, like you can just do it like in your garage, and then you just put in the internet, and then you get the audience. So it's pretty amazing. I watch shorts here and there through the internet, and like Charlie's the Unicorn. I think everybody watched that. So, yeah, those are like they never like advertise or anything. It's just like mouth to mouth, and people know about it, and it just spreads so quickly. That's the power of, I guess, the internet.
You also recently directed and wrote a live-action short film, right? The Killing of the Alaskan Crab. So is there anything else in the future that you'd like to tackle? I mean, you've done so much already, but is there anything else?
I'm making a pilot with some companies, and then that's another chance I can make a short. And yeah, I hope it will happen.
Oh, cool. For animation or live action?
Animation.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any advice for aspiring animators and artists out there?
Just I guess you have to trust yourself, and then just keep doing what you want to do. Just you believe it, and just stick to it, and hopefully it will reward. And then you'll be happy because you are doing what you want to do. Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, thank you, Nikki.
Thank you.
That's all my questions. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for watching, guys.
Okay, it was fun.
All right, bye, guys.
That was Banane. So many Adventure Time facts, so little time. Glad you made it to the end, though. So what'd you think? Did you learn anything interesting about Oot? What fact sticks out to you the most? Make sure you let us know down in the comments, and subscribe for more like this. And remember, Frederator loves you.